On today's episode of Let's Talk FGO, summer is here. And you know what that means. Ordeal Call 3, right around the corner behind it. And also, did you lose servant coins? Well, joke's on you, everybody lost servant coins, but we'll explain that a little later. Anyway, this is Let's Talk FGO. I am one of your hosts, Too Hot Omega, that's in reference to the temperature. With me as always, Too Trot Lucky.
I hope everyone is enjoying Vagrant Order, aka getting a little horny in here. And while we here at Studio Omega like to bring you the latest in FGO-related news and memes, rather, we will be talking about current and future events with the JP and Ian version of the game, so anyone not want to spoil this should fuse their shattered remains back together. Damn.
Also, I genuinely, I have to think if I can get away with it. Maybe I'll A/B test to see if YouTube gets mad, but my first thought to call the episode name would be, Beast of Summer. But now I'm like, wait, can I make a Summer ERESH horny joke? Am I allowed to do that on YouTube?
I'm pretty sure you're allowed to do that. But no, I definitely heard you make a noise when I said that. I was like, oh, Omega has something.
Yeah, I'm like, it tickled me. I like hearing you say it out loud also tickled me, but I read it and I'm just like, wait a minute. But, yes, this is Let's Talk FGO. You're listening. Thanks for that. Sorry, that was an awkward segue. Normally, this is the part of the show where I am reminded to thank all of our wonderful and beautiful listeners, but especially our patrons, and to remind you that I will say more about Patreon and other engagement things later, so as not to linger too long on it, but maybe you'll think about engaging with the video now. No, I'm not going to commit to inserting a text joke there. I could put big flashing text when I say that right there, but I don't really do visual edits on Let's Talk FGO, so... And I probably won't remember in 3 hours. Anyway, we're moving on through the show. We're going to have a wonderful time for you. The usual business starts with checking in with everybody's favorite Kohai, Mash, for a little bit of this.
Senpai.
That.
Senpai. 起きてください.
Because it's time for Wake the Fuck Up Summer Workers for pro tips. They were like 3 hours. 3 hours? No, it's because I said it earlier. 3 minutes in. Even with the edit, it'll be fine. Sorry, something going on in our English discussion chat. I'll bring it back up later because it's about the event, if it matters. But anyway, it's time for pro tips. My pro tip today is very simple to you. If you're wondering, if you haven't looked lately, this summer event will last approximately 40 days. It will last until 9/1, until the 1st of September. So you have a very long time to do it. Why is it like that? That we will cover later. But if you were wondering about the scope, if you've heard about this being a long summer event, or so on and so forth, your eyes are not lying to you. The event is open for a very long time. This is because it is technically a prologue to a story chapter. But again, we will run through that later. That means, new event, new banners. Obviously, you want to know. We're checking in with Records from the Throne, a regular achievement topic. That's right, we're not going straight to Evils. We're starting with Records. And
That means
Lucky
good things
jumped
happen.
down
Yeah.
first.
I did. So it took half my quartz, which was about, probably 300 to 330. I'm not sure. I did not count exactly. And there was 10 tickets in there as well. But I did manage a Nikitovic. But that came after NP4 Jufu, a seal, and a Berserker Flad on my first ticket. The absolute cheek. Lucky's up to 6 USOs now. Just 4 more to go.
It's crazy. And that's all what? Artorias and Vlads?
One John.
Okay.
All
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think half your court's around the 300-ish range. That's still pretty decent.
No, actually, that, all things considered, I'm a little miffed that, half my quartz is gone with having the Archetype Inception banner and the Khazra banner coming up. But when you sit down and think about that, that was, 2 SSRs, 6, SRs on it up. I think I got a Chiron in there, too, as well. Got him to MP5 as well. And I did get, actually a good amount of CEs. I didn't get enough to MLB the 5-star CE within Moon, which honestly, guys, I'm gonna say if you want a pretty good Arts Buster CE, I would definitely say roll for this one.
No, it's a very high quality CE.
No, because it gives you good damage on Arts and Buster up and good MP gain. So if you're gonna, it's easy to throw it on a servant that you can give MP up other ways, if they have their own 50% battery and whatnot, like Summer Ibuki. This card is great for Summer Ibuki, actually.
Yeah, that's actually something I've noticed doing doing Wanteds and servant profiles over the year. Oh, also, shit, I just realized. Sorry, it's been very hot lately. I've been kind of out of it. I probably should have written some formal notes for so you didn't get that 5-star. Because there are a couple of SSRs on the banner. I'll have to freewheel it later, because I do think that's the appropriate time to discuss it, since next week we should be on track for a prigam, because the Archetype Inception will be not that far behind. Though it'll be a little bit before the banner. But yes, no, like, I have noticed doing, like, servant profiles for Wanted and other stuff like that. The desire for CEs has really shifted away with so many battery givers, and also, most servants have their own batteries unless they have, like, crazy good NP gain natively, that you don't always need the 50% slot. And in fact, I think honestly, over time, the CE that's, I don't want to say depreciated the most, because it's still very useful, it's just less useful as, like, a frontliner's effect, is honestly, like, K-scope. Like, it used to be back in the day, because batteries were much more rare and there were not support servants giving you 50% all the time, that having multiple K-scopes, not even at multiple MLB K-scope, just multiple K-scopes, like, was the 3-turn farming strat. Like, no supports, just bolt K-scopes to Berserkers and go. And then the meta has slowly shifted from there, and an MLB K-scope is not nothing, but because you have other skills that usually give you some battery too, you don't always want to start with NP charge, because you might end up wasting it, unless you are lucky enough to have very large NP levels, and you can go all the way to like 200% starting. So, they've shifted some stuff around.
Yeah. Also, Lucky was mistaken with the moon is not Arts Buster, it's just Arts. It's Arts, MP damage, and MP gain, but it has 20% MP gain up on the card, which is really good.
Yeah, it's nice.
So
it's very good.
Yeah, it's very good. So if you have the opportunity, I would definitely roll for it. Like I said, I am down 1 copy, and I'm hoping to get it when we do the Archetype Scepter, and I roll for BB Dubai. That rate up will have all summer CEs on rate up. So there is a good chance.
And that's another thing in general that I don't know if they do this consciously, but I have noticed that over the years, a lot of summer CEs, both banner and events, are arts themed.
There are quite a few.
A decent number of them in the summer period are arts. It's funny. I don't know if there are any other events that actually are that close.
I don't know. I don't know their exact methodology for deciding effects when and where.
But we'll move on to records. For me, I threw my over 10 tickets.
Shit!
10 login tickets and a little more.
Sorry, hang on 1 second. I gotta beat someone to a post.
Okay, alright. He's racing. While he races, I will continue to vamp. I will distract anybody who may be listening live. But fired the 10 tickets from the login and a few more than that, and 1 10 spin, and I have secured NP2 Summer Shufu, and some CEs, including my first copy of the 5-star. So right now, we're chilling. We're chilling out. We're being cool. We're probably going to hoard St. Courts for a couple of weeks, at least, for various reasons. One of which is, actually, that does set up a segue to do the old 1-2 punch. To move to Not All the World's Evil, but damn close. So gang, hi, it's me, I'm starting. I've decided to stop rolling for Space ERESH this year.
Oh.
Did get enough, to go, like, I got a couple of Jufus, I got some CEs, I'm like, okay, let's see how the Space ERESH banner is doing. Goldspark, it's an assassin. We're definitely up to double digits on the Steno count. I have not been keeping track, because it has been a while since this meme has been going on, but as you know, Steno is one of the SRs who keeps bothering me, and she's well over NP5. Like, last I think I checked was like 8 or 9. I'm reasonably certain we're in double digits for sure now. So, yeah, I think it's time to call it quits on that banner, and to pocket the rest of the St. Courts for Archetype Inception as well, because I would like a Tenok, and maybe some more CEs.
Mm-hmm. So, I don't really have an evil, but I do want to mention it, because it was just one of those moments I just went, wait a minute, I'm a little fucked right now. But I went so hard on farming EXPs for Gargus that I forgot to set aside embers for the summer, so I have, like, no embers left over, like, at all. So I haven't been able to put any leveling into any of them. So they're all just kind of sitting at level 1, and I'm just all like, this irritates me this irritates me slightly.
Actually, yeah, shit, I probably should have put that as a note. I did Smile Protect Jufu. I have not leveled her skills fully. Probably do that because she's an Avengi, but I don't Don't remember what her mats requirements are.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, you went super beast mode on 120 Bargist. So yeah, that's as has been discussed in the gap week between anniversary and summer. That requires a shitload of EXPs.
A shitload.
So.
Oh no, yes, I am planning to gather shop EXPs, but it's not going to be enough. Like I said, I have 3 new servants coming up, and minimum 1 come Archetype Inception. Like 300, I'll get somebody, whether it'll be BB or not, I don't know. But yeah, no. So I'm trying to consider when can I put in some time to get some Ember grinding in, because like I said, this event does go on for a very long time, so there's going to be a lot of opportunity to hit up nodes for farming and whatnot, but AP is limited, and so is my apples. I'm trying not to go crazy right now until we get more nodes open, for the best farming locations, but it's still just one of those things that niggles in the back of my mind. It's just like, they're not leveled. It just gets to me.
Yeah, I mean, that means you're less likely to be getting if you... Obviously, the brand new servants have the best bonus, so you're not going to get a lot of FP if they're not leveled. Putting them on support list.
No. Well, actually, I'm pretty solid there. A lot of people have been using my Summer Ibuki.
Yeah,
like I said, she's MP5 120. Max skills. She doesn't. As soon as I'm pretty sure she'll really pop off once I get the damage CE fully MLB'd on her.
Yeah, that'll definitely be in demand for extras. I'm pretty sure even when the event wasn't up, my Summer Ibuki, who is level 100, is also super popular. She's just a good unit, okay? Mine is NP2, at least. I admit I am the guy who has a Space ERESH in my summer support list, and it is kind of just a flex because she is not as useful a unit as a friend support.
I mean, I threw mine in there. I'm like, look at this girl. Look at her.
At least with the story support, you can still get your levels even if you can't actually use your NP yet. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that shakes out. Also, honestly, with the way these are set up, no shit, you can't beat a really strong arts AoE berserker. That's how I'm solving most of my problems. It's that or my summer Melu, which is just hey, you know what goes crazy? Neutral damage. But that brings us to the end of our records. Feel free to let us know how you did on your summer rolls in the comments below.
I need a GIF reaction of Fujimaru just saying, right, we're used berserkers from the first season of Fujimaru Riska doesn't understand. Because that's how I feel sometimes.
That really is how it is, yeah. I'm pretty sure somebody's definitely got the screenshot of that subtitle somewhere. If we know which episode that is, maybe we can set our gremlins upon it.
The very first one.
It is the first one, yeah. I'll mention it to Loth sometime. You gotta be careful. You never know when you'll be in the middle of something like Fail Betrayal or Final Fantasy XIV, and Loth will just be, or even Deathwatch, and Loth will just scuttle off and come back. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Here's a meme. Just blasts us. All right, okay. Our next segment is, did you finish your master missions? To complete your master missions this week, you need to defeat 3 servants with the human attribute, and then 3 servants with the heaven attribute. Defeat 5 enemies with the super giant trait. And then 15 each of Saber Rider Berserker, Archer Lancer, and Caster Assassin enemies. So, do the event. I think the only one of these I haven't pinged is killing enough with the human attribute, and I'm sure that will either open up in the event, or you can free find that one pretty easily in your lower levels. Actually, FGO recommends quote-unquote best nodes for, or recommended at least, doesn't actually say they're best, but recommends nodes for mats drops. Now, do missions do the same? I think they do. I'll check later. Because every little bit of St. Quartz helps. But this will take us to Skelegrams. The Air is on Fire edition.
Oh, it really is.
That probably should have been my other pro tip. I like to throw out a little bit of real life stuff, but once again, not only hydrate, but everybody stay safe out there, y'all. If you live in the northern chunk of the United States, it is fire season in Canada again, and obviously because of how physics works, the border doesn't stop smoking stuff, so pay attention to your local air quality. If it says you're not recommended to go outside, don't go outside if you can help it. If you do have to go outside, maybe remember some of your COVID techniques.
Good mask will. Yeah. No, like I'm doing okay personally, but I got California below me. I live in Washington State, and I got Canada above me. I'm gonna get some bad air quality at some point. Surprised we haven't gotten it right now, but right now it's the other half.
Yeah, it's got to do with the windage and the like.
Legendary. I say episode 1, but it should be the New Year special, the very first one they did.
That might actually be like a 0.
Yeah, it might be like a 0.
It's like a pilot, but it should be whichever first one is posted. But yes, that is my supplementary pro tip before we move into Skelegrams. Watch out there. And also, be careful about the vegetables you eat.
Lettuce.
It's very funny to talk about the poo-poo-doo-doo parasite, but if you aren't careful, there are at least 3 digits of hospitalizations. You lose a lot of fluids that way. I do believe you might be able to cook it out. So keep that in mind.
I believe so. I believe it's like kind of like tapeworms in which, certain substances will just kill it.
Yeah, there's a few techniques. It's just one of those things where, like, be aware of your safety moves if you're gonna ingest lettuce and the like. Obviously, but you shouldn't necessarily have to, because there should be some sort of administration of foods and drugs which should monitor that for you. But, some guy cut all that funding. Anyway, completely different. Skelegrams, talking about FGO. EN. It's all EN news, actually, this week, other than maybe a little commentary about the FGO showcase. We talked about the in-game event for that, but it actually did start, so there's a few things circulating around. But, numero uno. BB presents Star, Celeb Summer Experience, Dubai's counterattack. If this doesn't end with a colony drop, I will be slightly disappointed. Anyway, starts 7:15, ends, once again, 9-1. No, you did not read that wrong. Your ears are clean, probably. Yes, this is, I think this has to be the record holder for, like, the longest event. Like, they've had campaigns and stuff that have run for a while, but, like, this is an event with story and farming and ladders and stuff that's gonna last a long-ass time. I think the only other possible competition might be that, when we talk about it, Ordeal Call 2 also lasts a long time, but it's, launching later. Also, some people in the comments did catch this previously, but contrary to how it was phrased earlier, they did clarify in the modern news announcement, the actual summer event only requires Fuyuki cleared, but to get to Ordeal Call 3, you need to clear both Celeb Summer Experience and the Ordeal Call Prologue. So yeah, you don't actually have to complete the OC Prologue to do the summer event. I don't know what the fuck the summer event looks like if you're not an Ordeal Call, personally, based on where the story is. But you can participate. It's just that they wanted to make sure you were aware of a possible Ordeal Call Prologue clearing in order to get involved in the other thing. Sorry, excuse me. We also have 16 Saint Courts for a bonus. That's social media plus broadcasting plus, I don't know. BB really wants you to have joy.
Joy.
You know what would bring me joy? 16 Saint Courts. Scratch that. You know what would bring me more joy? 32 Saint Courts. And then it's just me doing fucking an edit of Neji doing the 64 palms or whatever and just putting more Saint Courts. We keep doubling it. That's next anniversary. Anyway, as you might have guessed from the fact that Lucky and I talked about rolling on those banners, but the Seal, Jufu, Nikic, and Karna Percival banners are fired as expected. They each have their own CEs. And the event is indeed trucking along. If you want to know more about our first impressions, we will tune in later. But for now, the event is going on, and you've got quite a lot of time to do it. Now, you may ask yourself, why do you have so much time to do it? Well, it's because we've also announced, at the same time, Ordeal Call III. Bellum Novae Humanitatis. I actually should remember my fucking Latin verb tenses. Archetype Inception, the name that everybody calls it, is announced. It will be launching on 7/29. And as noted above, you have to clear both the prologue of Ordeal Call and the final story section, that's section 13, of Summer in order to get it. Ordeal Call will only be available from a limited time, so it will launch on the 29th, probably technically the 30th for most time zones. It's 29 on Pacific. And it will go until the 30th of September, 9/30. And it and the summer event will be added permanently afterward. I believe, from looking at it, they become available via main interlude and whatnot. Like, summer, it goes in main interlude, and Ordeal Call 3 is in the Ordeal Call 3 zone. It will be added in next February. So, if you're not all caught up on story, eventually you will be able to access both halves of this story, but it is one of those things that, will be limited time for a little bit, because of the nature of the beast. And also, as we did discuss previously, Ordeal Call 3 will drop in parts, and we do have the time frame on that. So the first part will drop the 29th, then about a week later in August, you'll get part 2, and then about a week later, you'll get part 3. So it's all you have an even week-long gap for each section. I don't know if there is actually a reason in story why it's structured like this, other than just they did say for sure, if it wasn't already known, but it was announced on the broadcasting station they did, because I did peep the video to make sure to grab this image I posted in the patron chat of the timetable, because I didn't find this posted anywhere on the FGO website yet, but they said specifically that, in case you couldn't guess, Ordeal Call 3 Archetype Inception is written by Nasu himself. So I don't know if that was just a timing thing, for deadlines, or what, or if there is actually a story reason why it's segmented out. But I guess we'll find out about that later. But that does give us some pretty clean demarcations. And like I said, because we've got a couple of weeks before the event launches, we'll do our pregame next week, because it is a 2-week gap. That's another thing that I saw people discussing in our community when it was announced, and even beforehand, I was I'm pretty sure it's 2 weeks, and it says right there, 2 weeks. And the graphic's a little weird, but I believe that the Archetype Inception banner should start at the same time. But they do clarify, as I brought up earlier, it and Summer will be added as a main interlude later. This will unlock Ordeal Call 3 permanently, so you will be able to access it. Ordeal Call 3 is going to be in parts. They've updated the roadmap for the time frame and clarified the Fairy Cage limited time event will occur during the run of Ordeal Call 3. It shouldn't be, too much of a factor if you're caught up, because of the 1 week gaps, because it's not going to be until, September. Let me actually go to the website and check what it says on where the time frame is. If it's mid-September, late September, that kind of a thing. But I do appreciate that they do straight up say, hey, we will also be running a different limited time event. Okay, So, Fei Sugoroku will be late September. So yes, it will technically overlap with the end period of Ordeal Call 3. And to do that, you will need to clear LB4. Why not LB6? I don't know, but yeah, I say.
Yeah, he says.
Also, yes, officially, this is another year where there is no Halloween event. Wait, I think we talked about this last time when we talked about the roadmap, but the vibe of Mystery House Crafters was it was kind of like a Halloween event, but it's definitely mid-November, so is not going to line up right. But we have already been shown the banner. They showed off all the servants. The banner that will launch also, I believe, on 7/29 will be BB Dubai, Summer Tenok, Terachilan, and MHXXA. So, and even though it's called an Archetype Inception banner, it should have, as Lucky brought up earlier, both kinds of CEs. So, if you could technically wait to complete this event, if you wanted currency CEs and stuff, you could wait until banner number 2. That may be why they've put such a long tail on it. I don't know. Or one of the reasons. But yeah, that's your news about Ordeal Call number 3. So, again, look forward to more news on that soon. Also, I believe some of this will come back in Mailbag, but yes, they also put out a news announcement that they have, they did a unscheduled maintenance. I think that was technically early this morning, maybe late last night, depending.
It was early this morning. It was from midnight to 4 a.m. My time, okay. Pacific Standard Time, I should say.
Yeah, that's definitely not a normal maintenance block. But yes, they did a unscheduled maintenance. I won't call it an emergency maintenance. At least I think it was unscheduled. It seemed to catch everybody by surprise.
Got me by surprise.
But they announced as a result of this maintenance, they have completed the Great Coin Takeback. So all excessively gifted servant coins should have been removed, and they say that some players may have had their Grail casting during the time period from basically when Annie launched and the servant coins were distributed to now, when they did the maintenance, may have had your cast Grails reset and to please cast them again, but not all of them.
Yes, I double-checked mine.
Yeah, you checked.
Mine was not refunded, but that's because I used all my Nobukatsu coins, which I did lose some, but I still had some left over, so I'm assuming that if you casted grails with coins you technically did not have, they refunded your grails on that.
So you can go forth and run them again. And then I have a note here. Actually, before we do that, I do want to mention, yes, that the Stargazers festival is going on. In real life, there is an FGO exhibition that is happening in Japan. And there's a lot of very fun stuff. Ooh, this is an even better shot. Post this in Patreon chat. But it's a physical exhibition of art and stuff. They're showing off a wide variety of things. Several concept arts are available. They've got, little celebrations. Various FGO artists have drawn, little special illustrations for everybody. But they also have some physical stuff there, including a thing I've just posted in our Patreon chat, which is, they've got I'm pretty sure it's there physically. They've got a model of the Himeji Castle Pyramid Castige in all its glory.
Yeah, it's glorious glory.
So, yes, it's a fun little time they've got going on. It seems like they've got some interesting stuff there. So that's super neat.
It's super neat.
And like I said, I've seen a few FGO artists, tweeting about it, posting images. They've got some walls and some signages. I don't know if it was either a recent, actually no, I think one of them was a translated comment that's at the exhibition, where Nasu left a little comment, which was basically part 2 is done. Finally, I can relax and catch up on my backlog. What's that?
My body is shattered.
Yes, body's broken. What's that? Deadlines? Slowly begins to reassemble himself. So yes, some people are like, "Oh, Nasu, you'll never finish Tsukihime." I don't know if that's actually related to that. That may be deadlines for the announced Mahoyo novels. That might be related to Tsukihime stuff. I don't know. It's not specifically about FGO. I think it just means that our poor mushroom, thought to himself or joked that he might take a break after finishing part 2 of FGO, and he's not actually taking a break. At least not until they release, until FromSoft release the Dust Bloods on Nintendo Switch 2.
Network Tech Scout soon.
Yeah. So I guess we'll actually see what that video game is. Actually, I think they've had some closed tests, but yeah, I haven't heard a lot since they announced it. Anyway, there's a few other things. There was also recently, let me actually double check if it got posted in our JP chat, or if I just saw it retweeted. I think I just saw it retweeted. Let me see if I can find it for myself. There are also some comments revealing who Nasu and Takeuchi granded. Let's see, did I retweet that? Yeah. I think this might be a interview translation, but I'm pretty sure it happened because of the exhibition, so I will post it. Also, to let you know that Nasu does do his own heavy lifting, he also clarified, all of his grands are 120 as well.
Yeah.
So, our mushroom has excellent taste. Summer Bargist and Archer Slot. His extra 1 was Madam President, and his extra 2 was Seal. But Takuchi's is pretty funny. It's not that many Artorias, but his extra 1 was Mash, and his extra 2 was Oberon. Pause for a second and just preemptively snipped. Okay, now, next we have a note that I've technically put in Skelegrams, even though it's not really news. I was wondering if somebody might leave a mailbag comment about it, but I didn't see anything. But I've got just a note I've written down as Conspiracy Corner time.
Okay.
So, you've probably seen this in our Discord, but I've seen some thoughts going around in our own Discord and a few other posts on the internet. Lots of people are conspiracizing about the October event release, which has been confirmed via the roadmap to be the Ryoma rerun, the Ryoma double rerun, which is absolutely not where that rerun went in the JP schedule.
Yes.
Specifically, if you don't know, to catch people up why there's conspiracizing, the Ryoma event was originally rerun in JP around the time that the Golden Week collab normally would be, and this was because they couldn't do the Strange Fate collab. The time mechanics get a little hard to describe. What would have been a year ago in JP and is a year in the year upcoming for us, they couldn't run the Strange Fate collab. I believe, based on interviews, not because the anime was being delayed to hell. It's because of Narita-san's own health issues. Couldn't finish writing the event in time. Sorry, excuse me. But yeah, so the collab was supposed to be earlier, but was put off. So this has a lot of people wondering and speculating that, they're moving the rerun because that means that obviously we will get the collab early in the blank gap. And since this is a thing that people are thinking about, I figured I'd bring it up. Didn't know if it would get brought up in Mailbag. Personally, I usually like to hedge myself when I talk about FGO because FGO, I'm kind of crazy with it. Kind of insano in the membrano. And certainly the English version, the global version, has done some wacky, wild things over the years, including earlier this year, bringing Richard, 9 months early? Something like that?
Mm-hmm.
8 or 9? So, and Albert has stressed before about damaging clairvoyance. I will say that this year in the panel, he didn't talk so much about damaging our clairvoyance, just as, acknowledging that it exists. So, I don't know. I guess be on the lookout for, a New Year's update if he talks about it again.
No, I think there's actually some merit to this because, like I said, we did move up Richard, and I think they might do something like this if the Strange Fake anime also the next season comes out around that time, which it may. I don't know necessarily what production issues it may be having, but if they were to try to put it in, probably put it in the spring core, probably be a pretty good time for it.
I think roughly a year after the first one came out, I think.
Yeah. I don't know what mats the servants in the event would need, which is, my other concern. Like I said, because there will be, let's see, with this gap, I think it'd just be OC4 mats that'll come out. I don't believe there's anything else
yet. And they have unlocked things in the Pure Prism shop early when that sort of situation has happened before.
No, so if it comes out that the next season of Strange Fake the anime comes around spring next year, I definitely can see that they are just moving things around just so we can have the space to throw it in there as well. I keep forgetting what the collab for next year was anyway. I know someone told me.
Collab? I think there was, but it was delayed. Maybe the patrons will catch it. I have double checked, and Prelati at least is just Ordeal Call 2 mats. You're going to need,
I think that makes sense.
11 gold pots per skill, by the way.
Jesus. No, so I it's a conspiracy that's a little tin hat, but I do think it's actually fairly credible, personally.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. I like to hedge my bets with FGO because I don't want to be, they definitely won't do it, they definitely will do it, because I really don't know with FGO. I am on the slate about it not necessarily being likely to happen because that is the kind of thing that can snowball, because it's all right, so if we move up the collab, and we fit it in early, then, what do we do the next year? Do we move up the JP collab, when it would be again? And then that can cause, knock-on effects, because then you run into the problem of okay, well, what happens when JP eventually does EOS, right? Are we just, moving up collabs until the end of time until it just doesn't happen because there wasn't a new one? Obviously, depending on how long they're planning on going, that may be such a future problem you don't need to worry about it, but it can cause logistical issues. Also, speaking of which, let me scroll. Jesus Christ, John Lackland needs nothing. His latest mat is a fucking Trom mat.
Well, again, I think this goes to the part of the collab was originally slated to run much, much earlier.
Yeah.
So
no, I think with their ID numbers and stuff, it totally tracks. It's one of those things, like I said, which is I don't know for sure if they'll do it because that could be a headache later. I don't know. It's one
of those things again. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I was gonna say, is the collab? Because somebody said oh well, it's also they're both 2-week events. It's are they actually because it's collab and then double secret collab? Do those run for the same amount of total time? It'll be about 3 weeks. Because if there's not extra time for the back half, extra half, then the fact that our pre-anniversary time is time crunched is not an issue.
No, I think it'll be fine. I think that's probably what we're trying to do with moving Ryoma's thing to now. We'll probably scooch some things around just so there's probably a little bit more space. And if need be, by moving the collab up, that puts a gap in 2 years from now where we can, maybe, you know, squish some things left or right to make everything work. Like I said, like, if moving the collab is probably a case, this is probably causing a bit of a headache with the scheduling, but it's completely doable.
I mean, they've already done the as we discussed, the relatively unprecedented and wild shit of moving Richard up, like, for an anime tie-in. So we're not afraid to get a little crazy with it. I will say, personally, at the same time, I'm also, like, a lot of people are like, does this mean Lord Logresh at New Year's this year? She was supposed to come out earlier. That I'm still also, like, that I don't know about. Like, Lord Logres, like, that's... Let me actually check her mats as well. Because I don't think there's any... wait, hold on. What are you from? Yeah, I don't think that one's going to happen, because her Ascension needs an item that, if I'm reading this right, you can only get from Grand Duel Battles? Reliquary of the Lost Soul? And then Holy Water of Destiny is an OC4 mat. Yeah, so, like, obviously, like I said, some people are like, oh, they just put them in the Pure Prism shop. I don't know. They can do that, but also they cannot do that, right? Like, I don't know if that will futz with the future plans for the item economy or not. I could see them just rerunning Richard, because that would be a good opportunity to give him a banner when he was normally supposed to come out and everything. So, I don't know. Again, double checking, like, and realizing that they really did plan the Strange Fake Servants for that slot, you know, pre-Ordeal Call 4, and not even using, like, OC3 mats, right? Like, that's like, okay, that makes it sound like it's a lot easier to move. So, we will see. We'll see. And, like I said, you can hear me hedging in the real time. I really don't know. It's the kind of thing that, like, you gotta think about the logistics, because, like, this is one of those things, changing the schedule does create the knock-on effect.
Mm-hmm.
But it was supposed to be that year, you know, so, like, they've done those little tweaks before. Arguably, it's not a little tweak, but are they actually? I should have checked that too. Let me see if I can go there. Are there servant ID numbers also, like, way earlier? That happens sometimes. Let's see. Pralati is 467. No. Sorry, this is me failing to type servant ID. Servant list by ID. Let's go to the 400s. Okay, no. So their ID numbers are later. Not that actually, like, matters too much either. It's just interesting based on, like, where things come out. But okay, we will, as we like to say, see.
Yeah.
Also, it is always funny to me how some of the welfares are placed, funnily enough. So, like, for instance, certain upcoming welfare type characters that are a duo and will be, you know, unlockable for the FP Gacha are before Kazura drop, even though I think technically they're not available until that event with Kazura drop. But Tutankhamun's ID is before Van Gogh Minor. But yes, that has been, you know, our conspiracy theory corner. And, you know, let us know your opinions. Occasionally it's good to check in with people and see if, you know, your thoughts are echoed or not.
All right.
Sorry.
But with that, it is time for this week's Let's Talk FGO Mailbag, the segment where we read what you have to say and comment accordingly. This week, we have a few comments, and we will get through them all. Starting at the top with Monster Girl Aficionado saying, Dear Lucky Omega, no question this week, just in good vibes and wishing you well. Keep up the great work. P.S. Don't forget your PvP ladder.
I am cringe, I am free. That was about the PvP ladder, by the way. I got my coffer.
Yes, I'm still working on mine, but we still have a bit of time. Like I said, we're only about a week out from the Berlin Fan Fest, but that will only be us getting up to the 0.55, not to the 0.6, which will be our actual limit for the PvP.
Yes, 0.55 will end the competitive season, not the series level.
Yes.
This is another thing that I'm hoping that the Battle Pass will fix, is some of the terms.
So, nothing crazy there, but so we're going to move on. Let's move on to the next one. This one has no alias, but, whatever. Let's not be fussed about it too much. They say, though, this mysterious stranger with no name. A light question, but don't you ever wish there was a special Saint Quartz pack just for anniversary business? Let his price be between the 76 quartz and the 41 quartz packs, but in chains you only get 45 paint Saint Quartz with no extra Phoebes. Me, personally, no, not really. Like, I usually, Like, just buy the highest, and I let the quartz ride as the quartz rides. Sometimes that paid quartz lasts me all the way to, maybe New Year's and whatnot. I understand for people who are trying to, penny pinch a little bit more, that might be a little more concerning, but, I think it's fine as is.
Stroke my I mean, a 45 bundle would probably not go crazy. I would still include the bonus free quartz, because that's part of the marketing is, you see the effects. That said, I feel like the amounts that are in paid currency packs are like laser tuned and are usually feel like very specific based on market trends. FGOs might be a little outdated, but I don't know. Like, they've had their amounts locked in for a long time, so I could see the 45 amount. And obviously, depending on your region, the currency conversion can get a little annoying too, like how much you're actually paying for X amount of Saint Quartz. In the States, it's still roughly 99 cents per Saint Quart. But yeah, the problem with this also, though, is I'm pretty sure next year for 10th, they let you do 2 GSSR lucky bags, which each take 15 Saint Quartz. So it goes up from needing, if you want to do all of it, it goes up from needing 45 specifically to you need 60 total. And I know some people, I think, were kind of like, oh, that's greedy, but it's like, no, I think it's like, if you only can afford 1 GSSR, roll 1 GSSR. But I also know people who are like, man, I wish I could pay more money to roll more.
Yeah.
So it's one of those balancing acts, right? So I understand the appeal of a special anniversary bundle, and do kind of think the 45 total can sometimes be a little bit of an awkward number, but like Lucky said, you can, even with tax, I don't think you lose that much if you just optimize making small purchases of St. Quartz, and if you can afford it, you can just buy the big bundle, and the numbers are going to change.
The big one.
The big boy. Be careful of my big boys for a little bit. Luckily, I think after the possible great Tenochtitlan disasters, I think I'm pretty okay for the rest of the year. I don't know. I have worries about Christmas, and they're gonna sneak one up at me with Loki. They're gonna get me with a chicken granny.
Chicken granny. But yes, no, I am also for just spending more pay quartz to get more SSRs.
Yeah, no, guaranteed SSR is very powerful.
Oh.
Sorry, I could only. I know this goes into our refrain about being nothing but song references, but I could only think when you made that sound of just ooh,
oh. Anyway, let's move on. This next one comes from BB Broke the Game, as usual. But they say, howdy, Lucky and Meg. I hope you're all having a good week. And I know Lucky was, like myself, caught off guard by the unscheduled FGO maintenance late last night this morning. Like, indeed. So funnily enough, Lucky wasn't actually available Thursday afternoon and evening. I was actually very busy working on my computer, doing maintenance, cleaning things up, making sure things were installed properly. Like I said, unlike a console, you basically have to, go in there every once in a while and make sure your computer gets rid of all the junk files that it hoards for no absolute reason other than it fucking can. Doing such things can really mess with your memory and your disk drive space. Not to mention, you can accumulate a lot of fucking cookies. So I was working on that, and I was uninstalling and reinstalling a whole lot of things all day. So I didn't actually get a lot of time to actually play any gacha game until it was past midnight. That being said, because after I was done doing all my computer maintenance, I was like, boy, I'm fucking tired. And I laid down and I passed out for 3 to 4 hours. I didn't wake up until 10 p.m. I was just like, oh, great. Perfect. So yeah, no, come midnight, once I've taken care of everything, so I try to log into FGO and it's maintenance. And you're just like, what? Why? So yes, yeah. No, I completely understand that feeling. But this person has a question. They say, question, summer approaches for JP presumably soon. So I wanted to ask, what male servants would you like to see get a costume for next summer's batch in JP? Give me male comic summer costume.
That'd be very funny.
I'd love it. Give. Right now, though, I also would like the Jacques Domolay Saber. Male summer. Oh, it might be too soon for him, though.
Might be a little. We don't know.
Like I said, I need
a snowboarding theme.
Yes. Let's see.
I'll echo something I've seen people bringing up because he's one of the CEs this year. But Ashwathaman.
I was actually gonna say Bhima. I would like a Bhima costume, honestly.
That could be a good fit. We don't see him in person, but he is mentioned in the summer event.
Yeah.
Might be a good callback. Also be an excuse to put him in the story more.
Yeah. Let's see here. Who else would I like? It would not necessarily be, male. We could also have, like, the female version, too, but put the Hakanos in another summer costume.
Yeah, I mean, also, I guess spoilers for our first impressions later, but I know several people were jump scared when Hakunon showed up very early in this event.
Yeah.
And she is in a summer dress. I don't know if it's an actual swimsuit, but it's a summer costume.
you don't actually get that for them.
No, and we've rectified the issue of lip, so we can give a fair shake. Let's see. But yeah, thinking about, I was trying to think any other. I mean, I should say this. We've done bronzes and 3 stars and stuff before, but it's like I have to keep bringing it up. Classic Cool Answer and his fucking Hawaiian shirt, man. Where is it? It's been 10 years. Hit that boy up. It's not even like a classic Fate Stay Night thing. We gave Emmy a summer costume. It's mostly just makes him, look like everybody's casual big brother, but that's okay. That may need to vacation, all right?
I'll go to the other one. Give me a Satanta summer costume.
Oh, that would also be fun.
Put a little floaty around the dog. That'd be great. But yes, I think that's probably it. There's a lot of discussion out there, and hopefully, let's see here. The anniversary event should be starting in a couple weeks here. I guess that usually takes place at the end of July into early August. We're only a couple weeks out from that. So we'll definitely be getting our initial previews then, but I do believe that people will be excited about all other sorts of things as well at the time. It's going to be a very, very exciting.
Yeah, let me see. Do we have an announcement for... Okay, yes. The Chaldea Academy Festival, the 11th anniversary, will take place. It is going to be a little late this year, but it's going to be August 1st and 2nd. So right at the start of the new month, the anniversary. And yes, that will almost assuredly come with full-blown previews for summer. We should actually have some NP videos, and we'll see, glamour shots of the male costumes in our first banner, if not both banners, etc. So, not too much longer.
So, with that, we will see. So, we'll move on to, last but not least, Agent 418, saying, hello, Lucky and Omega. Have a good weekend, y'all. Thank you for that. But with that, Mailbag is done. Everyone, thank you so much for participating. I look forward to seeing what you have to write every week. And do not forget that you too can participate in Mailbag by checking on our community page every Friday around, anywhere between noon and 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Just put in, read the entry, follow the rules, put in your thing, and it will also be read online for everyone to hear. Look forward to hearing from you.
Yep. So I didn't mean right down the road. Wasn't aiming for that, but it just came out that way. We're also happy souls. So much happy souls.
We are such happy souls.
But yes, I do hope to have a good weekend. It's been so, I'm pretty sure I'm not necessarily sick anymore. It's just a fucking gajillion degrees and all the plants are freaking out all the time. So, a lot this week, my, sinus cavity has felt like it's trying to crush me, which sucks. So I also have not been keeping up on all my games and stuff. We'll hang out and hit some stuff up. But this takes us to Chaldea Free Talk. Where? To start, actually, that's a good question. Do we want to do summer first impressions first, or do the 4 stars? If perhaps you did not
do
get
the 4
the
stars.
5 stars. All right, so I'm going to do, so you didn't get that 5-star, basically live. Funnily enough, it'll probably be mostly the same factually. It's just me and I won't have time to think about what jokes I'm going to make. But we'll start with Summer Jufu Avenger. She's here to see Lady Yu. She has a little doll, which does, by the way, change colors and move around in the Ascensions. So she also has a chainsaw. Why?
I mean, she got her start at a literal summer camp horror film. I think it makes a little bit of sense.
Oh no, yeah, it actually is a perfect fit. And I do appreciate, her different designs. Her first one, which is more of not a swimsuit, but a going to the beach fit. And then she actually has, a couple of swimsuit designs. But even then, having myself, fully ascended her, she makes a crack, in her all white final swimsuit, which is just what do you mean I have to be careful eating noodles? You're wearing white, ma'am.
I love Jufu's personality so much.
No, she's great. she is absolutely a what we would call back in the day, and I think can still say today, a disaster lesbian. And if you think
I think
that's not true, I would like to remind everybody, spoilers, this woman literally has a passive where she does 20% less damage to concert you.
I don't know. I wouldn't call her a disaster lesbian. I think Jufu's actually pretty into the master. It's just that her number one love is Lady Yu. But not in a romantic way, but like, this is my motherfucking idol. I stand my Oshi so fucking hard.
It's true. I guess I don't... Her obsession with Lady Yu is not necessarily romantical. And I don't know if that's just because she's not trying to compete with Zhang Yu or what. But she definitely wants to, like, spend time with and hang out with Lady Yu. And will, canonically, ditch Yu to do it.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. But no, it's like, but if you read her line, she definitely is interested in what the master thinks of her fit and spending time with him. It's just that always comes second to Lady Yu.
I mean, it's funny. I've actually double-checked. That's literally what... At Bond 2, which I don't think either of us is at yet, but behavior towards Master, this hasn't changed. Lady Yu comes first, but because you've been around the Master so long, she's grown comfortable around them. Yeah. She's one of the few servants willing to give Master a back massage.
No, so, like, I definitely think there might be, like, some sort of feelings from Jufu. It's just that they are pale in comparison to her obsession with Lady Yu.
To the point where, yes, she still does some very pathetic things, like talks as her Lady Yu doll. That's okay, but that's what we love about her.
No, I love her to death. She's so good.
That and the fact that I'm pretty sure when Black Bart talks about her bang covering, she's like, boy, get away from me. I'll kill you. Mm-hmm. Also, by the way, unrelated to talking about so you didn't get that 5-star, but I would like to say, shout out to Black Bart. He's playing FGO.
Yeah, MASH is on the screen.
He's got MASH on the screen, and he's hovering on the main menu. I think it is the part 1 menu, though.
I did not double check that, but I saw someone else mention it, and I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, no, I when I saw it come up, I did make sure to look at it when I next saw him in story. And yeah, in the CGs, he's got FGO on his phone. I don't know if you can blow it up big enough to actually see, but I thought it was the part 1 main menu. But yeah, that's very funny.
Started.
He probably did just get started. He's on vacation. Anyway, Jufu's an Avenger, proving that we are still doing those for certain events. She's 4-star, so the exact balance of like where her attack and HP is at is not as easy to slam down as 5 stars, but generally, Avengers, big attack. Jufu actually has relatively low attack for a 4-star Avenger. Like, even Gorgon has more than her. But as an Avenger, that's not really saying anything. She still has pretty decent attack for a 4-star. She is, though, quick, buster. She has a pretty average NP gain at 0.43 and has above average hit counts. 5 hits on those arts cards, 4 on the quick. Also, 5 on the buster. That may not matter too much, because Avengers don't have crazy star generation, but you never know when it'll come up. Her NP is single target buster. It deals damage to an enemy. It has a chance to instant kill them, about an 80% chance, so it's not guaranteed against bronze enemies, but you can increase that. And if you do instant kill that enemy, the rest of the party gets, actually everybody in the party gets 20% attack up for 3 turns. And if you give her, bonuses and benefits, you can make that basically guaranteed against bronzes. The overcharge effect is bonus damage to enemies with the human attribute. So you've got a single target buster that deals damage, might kill them instantly, and does do bonus damage to man, so you can sneak that into some boss fighting. Her first skill is a pretty normal double steroid. It's a hybrid steroid. It's Arts and Buster up for 3 turns, 20-30% the usual. It's also 20-30% battery. Very normal skill.
Yeah.
Skill number 2, also pretty normal. It's a team-wide benefit skill. Party gets 10% NP gauge, 5 to 10% NP per turn for 3 turns, and also gets a one-time 3 turns overcharge buff.
Nice.
Which means, obviously, that in future team comps, especially if there are rulers involved, Summer Jufu is going to be my Space ERESH's friend. Because Summer ERESH loves overcharge levels. That's how you get the big juice. And then the third one is where we have a skill that is not very normal, the collection of 10,000 deaths. So first of all, this is a 62 120% instant kill success up. So I think this means that, like, with all those buffs, she's pretty good at killing even silver-rated enemies with her NP. Also gives her NP damage up for 3 turns, 20 to 30%. and also a flat 20% of extra damage for 3 turns against Poison, Curse, and Burn. That's right, she gets bonus damage versus all the dots. Not quite enough to make or break her damage, but definitely makes her a good companion on, you gotta start planning for weird nodes now, chat. You gotta worry about, 311, 113, 221, lots of weird shit. You gotta worry about that now. So, your best bet for some of those might be an, AoE farmer who does bonus damage versus enemies with, burns, or poisons, or curses. There's quite a few of those out there, and they also tend to be extra classes. Well, what do you do if you've got a boss unit in that mix-up? Well, the humble Summer Jufu can do bonus damage to enemies who have dots on them. She might also instant kill them, and she's got some pretty normal damage steroids. She's just got a couple of normal Avenger passives. I do want to say that it's funny that her titular Avenger passive is called Avenger Facade, so, she's not really that Avengy. But she does have increased NP gen when she's attacked, but does also reduce the rest of the party's debuff resistance. And she does have Oblivion Correction EX, so her critical damage is always boosted by 12, which is pretty good. Interestingly enough, I don't know if it'll come out in story or not, but she is a high servant, so she has some hybrid effects in there, but they're not actually called out. Does not have mana replenishment, so she does not passively gain NP, but that's probably why she has a skill for that. And as I mentioned before, she also has literally weakened Consort U EX. She reduces her attack against Consort U enemies by 20%. So, a perfectly normal summer unit. We've got some funs, we've got some goofs, we've got some good looks. Let's see. She's got a decent Bond CE. I always like to check Bond CEs. Hers is party NP damage by 10% and party damage against human attribute by 15%. So again, kind of, semi-support.
I know we get the ability when we grant them, but I really do wish that Bond CEs were just permanent effects. So many of them are just neat little extra things, but not very, very few of them justify taking up the CE slot for them.
Yeah, I can only think of a handful that are actually that important. What was it? I think I talked about this in the Wanted for Seal out now. But her Bond CE is pretty good because it's like, in case you didn't know, if you didn't watch my video, Mysterious Executor Seal does recover 500 HP every turn, like all the time, as one of her passives. Her Bond CE increases that by a further 500, so she's regenning 1k per turn and generates 5% NP per turn passively, and also is an NP damage up. So, that's pretty good.
No, it is pretty good.
That can be worth the stat loss to generate 5% NP all the time and heal 1k every turn, especially because that's kind of her kit. But for other servants, it's rough losing out on the extra stats.
No.
Honestly, because mechanically, the Bond CEs are all 4-star, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for, cost and stuff. If they actually, gave the appropriate, because they're free MLB, if they actually gave the appropriate amount instead of 100 for their level, that would also probably fix this problem. But there's still very few Bond CEs that are crazy good, and obviously they do exist, though. They've existed for quite a while. There are some crazy outliers. Herx is one of them, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
Oops, guts.
I mean, I use Castorias and Tomo Casters to help with MP region, so
yeah, no, my Kestrel is Bond 10, and I do also have I usually use the CE with her when it's not an event for farming, because it is just, listen, in my ideal strategy, she's not attacking.
Yeah.
Also, ideally, she's not getting hit either, so it doesn't matter. But for your offensive units, the bonuses on their Bond CEs have to be crazy good to be worth it over putting, a big-ass attack CE on there. You can get some big stonks.
Stonks.
But let's talk about Lancer Dobrynya Nikic. Summer Nikki. And many people did catch this, but you can see in the first Ascension, she does have a couple of little Koyan stickers on the coat.
Yeah, no, I actually looked at this because I was curious, but she picked her first swimsuit, or was it the Koyans who picked it? Anyway, the 3 swimsuits were picked by different people. One was picked by her, another was picked by the Koyan Skyas, the third was picked by her spouse.
Yeah, so I double-check. That should be her Bond 2. Ascension 1 is the one she picked. The second one is picked by the Koyans of Light and Dark, and then the third one is Nikki's spouse. Which is Still, I think, ambiguous whether that's Dobrynya Nikic's wife from the story, or that's the actual Dobrynya Nikic, and this is his wife pretending to be him. I think that's still kind of like, huh?
I don't know, but fucking Nikic's wife picked a swimsuit for him to wear, which I still find hilarious.
And it is the one that has the least amount of coverage and the most amount of extra zazz.
No, I personally love it.
Including, I think, cat ear protectors. I didn't realize this. In third, Nikic is wearing a cat ear headband, but also still already has cat ears.
No, I love Nikovic so much.
Yeah, she's good. And honestly, even then, the first swimsuit design being her own is like, okay, all right. With the black nails, the one thigh band fighting for its life.
No, there's many things I could say about the design and other things I feel about Nikovic, but I do just always want to point out that I feel joy every time that they confirm that both Koi and Skayas are in Chaldea, and they fucking are all over Nikovic as their mother. It's so good.
Yeah, it's pretty
Gives
fun.
me joy.
And this is why we keep calling out for summer Koyans.
Yes.
Koyans of summer. But, stat-wise, Nikic is a 4-star Lancer. I'm looking at this number, and I'm going to guess better on the HP than the attack spread, but still, they're pretty good. Over 11k for HP and 9.7k for attack. That's pretty alright for a 4-star all-around. You've got, also, quick arts, buster. Similarly, average hit counts and average NP gain, 0.45 and 4 hits on everything except the buster, which is 3. It's pretty okay.
Okay.
Your NP is also another singlet targeton. Actually, shit, that means it seals single target too, right? Is everybody in this first banner single target? That's a little funny. Yep, no, that's one enemy. Yet another reason to give the event a long ass timer. You can wait until the Archetype Inception banner comes out and get some AoEs out here. I guess that's what Karna and Percival are doing, and Black Bart carrying that farm and wait. But it's Art's single target this time. It deals damage to an enemy. It seals their NP for 1 turn. That is garantado. I mean, not 100 because it's not like a 500% chance, but it starts at 100% chance. It also reduces their arts resistance by 20% for 3 turns. The overcharge effect is not bonus damage versus Earth attribute enemies, but rather gives the buff of increasing her damage against Earth enemies for 1 turn. So it starts at 30%, maxes out at 70%, by the way, for 500% overcharge. Makes sense because this is, this is an anti-dragon Noble Phantasm. But yeah, this is pretty typical for Arts stall teams. Arts res down for 3 turns means you're like, I'm gonna loop. You get to seal their NP for a turn, which is always fun. And presumably, with the damage up, you're probably trying to string together a Brave Chain. Milk that extra damage. First skill is a 3-turn Arts up, 10 to 20%. Gives you also 20-30% NP gauge and generates 20 to 30 stars. Again, very normal first skill. Does the stuff. Second skill is a variant of Nikic's original anti-dragon combat technique. Now it's anti-dragon combat technique water swimsuit. So 10 to 20% attack up for 3 turns, crit damage 20-30% up for 3 turns, 30 to 50% damage up versus dragon. But additionally, if you're on a water battlefield, you get 20% attack up, crit up, and defense up for 3 turns. So it's a perfectly okay skill on its own, but if you're on water, it's a pretty good skill. You're looking at 50% total, or no, 40% of total attack up, 50% total crit up for 3 turns, and then you get a defense up on it too. That's nice. And then final skill is the helpfully named Summertime Nikic. That's 5 to 10 stars per turn, 5 to 10 NP per turn, 500 to 1k HP per turn, and 20 to 30% NP generation per turn. Oh, sorry, it's just NP gen up for 3 turns. All of those are 3 turns. So heal stars, heal NP, heal, extra NP gain. All pretty solid. I think, basically with that NP gain up and the way the state of arts comps are, with that arts res down, you are pretty strongly going to be able to probably loop Nikic's NP, which is not bad for a single target because that means that you can loop through break bars. I don't know how many archer type enemies there are who are dragon, but I'm sure there are more than a few. So you can bring your extra juice. Passes are pretty normal. It's just MRB and Writing B. So I feel like both these designs are not the zaniest kits for Summer Servants. Sorry, I was distracted by double-checking Nikich's Final Ascension, which in addition to, feet, there's no other way to say it, Chad, if you haven't seen the art. The artist is doing a thing. But also, tiny Koya plushies in the background. I'm just like, it's very funny. Are they supposed to be like sweets? They're sitting next to a champagne bucket. It's very funny. Very cultured.
Very cultured. I love it.
But yeah, so neither of the 4 stars seem like crazy breakouts mechanically, but are very solid. And we will check back in with our other summer units later, such as our mysterious and horny city woman. I do appreciate, I want to say, this is kind of going towards first impressions, but I want to take a quick break before we get into that. But I do want to say thank you to this event for giving me a preferred form of shortening Tenochtitlan's name to just Tenoch.
Tenoch.
Because, thank you, actually, that was important.
I am horrible with Latin America names.
I want to say, specifically, some of the Aztec or Mayan names can be a little busy with the continents. I can say Tenochtitlan, but sometimes I gotta think about it a little, because that is it's... Sorry, I was gonna say it in a very funny way, but it made me chuckle. It's the ch right into the tit. By going Tenoch or Tenoch. That's a lot easier. And she also specifies that, we're not fucking around with Huitzilopochtli or Tlaloc. But let us take a quick break ski and then talk about how we're feeling about the summer event. All right. Let us resume. Resume. Oh, try to stretch my neck a little bit. Okay. Are we back? Good. Says with the same inclination as... says with the same tone as Dark Helmet turning to camera. Everybody got that? God, Space Mouse is so good. I hope the sequel's good. They did a fucking somehow Dark Helmet is returned joke. Save me, Mel Brooks. Anyway, Celeb Summer Experience. It's out. It's happening. I'm caught up with story. Lucky, are you caught up with story?
Yeah, I got caught up before we started.
Okay. So we'll probably talk mostly about it, but not quite all the way. I do want to say, apart from even the notes I took, it is kind of interesting to think about this event as both a summer compared to other summers, but also very much a prologue to a later, main story bit. Because...
Oh, yeah, no.
I don't know how else to say it other than that it feels a little different.
Oh, no, we definitely did a little bit of a tingling like before we even set out. It's noted that, the moon cancers are being a little wibbly, a little wobbly. It's like, oh, that was weird, but we don't really, remark upon it.
Da Vinci, of course, says, but we don't know what the fuck a moon cancer is anyway, so who cares? Not quite who cares, but, we bury the lead a little bit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I also kind of feel like right now where we're at, plot-wise, not a lot has happened yet. Section 5 isn't dropped as at the time we're recording this, so, we're still kind of in the setting up for a twisty pants.
No, we're having some things here, because the basis of the story is we have no idea what we want to do with systemification. Everyone has opinions, and then BB, our ever-helpful, AI, says, I got a perfect plan. I'll take you to Dubai in the future. And for some odd reason, everyone thinks, yeah, this is a great idea.
It's so funny. I guess it's because technically the FGO version is, chaotic good. She is technically supposed to be assisting us. But it's so funny to me that, our true last boss, Kohai, who fucking, whenever she calls us up, everybody's just at the same time, she has the amazing power to get everybody to just nod and go, seems legit.
To be fair, aside from, the CC, the collab, but, usually things are pretty okay, generally.
Yeah, you do have an option at least to remind her about the fact that her previous involvement with Summer has been very chaotic, sometimes a little sinister, but otherwise she is okay. And I think honestly the Haltria part,
that was actually hijacked from her,
Yeah, that wasn't her fault. She was actually planning that completely legit. It just got away from her a little because we decided to mix some Australia in there at the last minute.
Yeah. No, it's it's one of those things of BB's a good person. She just plots too much for her own good, and it always backfires on her spectacularly. Every time.
Yeah. Joking about her being, she is a final boss, not a secret boss. And that's another thing that, CCC event, like, even then, she was technically on our side because she had already been usurped as the actual final boss by Kiara, you know. So, even though at times BB and the alter egos, the Sakura 5 were, well, the two of them who were there anyway, but the Sakura 5 were against us, you know, it's still, she was helping us out with her, you know, her BB slots and her moments. But also, you know, BB is absolutely a sadist. Like, she definitely likes to see people suffer. Normally, anyway. I don't know exactly what is up with BB Dubai, but we're gonna unpack that one later.
I mean, she looks like she's aged a few years, especially in the chest area. Jesus.
Yeah.
Ma'am, that dress cannot contain those puppies.
Many jokes about BBs.
I do like BBs.
You know, there's... BB does actually have, in CCC, have a huge bust line that I think her normal outfit hides a little, but definitely I feel like we've done a little extra oomph to the dress. They let Waterco cook, basically. I've already seen several people make the joke. That's why she has to have her arm crossed, because, well, you know she's not wearing a bra under there.
No.
That is a braless dress, gang. But yeah, like, so BB calls us up. I do like that we have this discussion, which does include, you know, a reference to a cruise ship. So who knows? Maybe that is a thing we have not actually done. That was the joke in Summer 1 was that they were going to race shift us to a cruise ship, but then we crashed. So that's actually doing a cruise-based event is still open. But, you know, as stated, BB comes in with the familiar music, and Da Vinci does ask some questions about, like, hey, normally we can't race shift to the future. Are you sure that's okay? And BB's just like, don't worry about it. That's Caldea's problem. You're not designed to go to the future. I'm a fucking super AI from the future. I'll fix it. And she does. To her credit, as far as we know, the race shift is working fine. Our existence is verified.
Yep, we got no problem with that, but communications are down, and for some odd reason, we can't identify anyone's servant class anymore. Weird.
Yeah, that is actually something that FGO doesn't comment on a lot, but that is supposed to be one of the, you know, basic things the Grail packs into every servant summoning, or the heroic summoning system packs in there, is servants are supposed to, you know, have knowledge of modern times infused, and they're supposed to be able to, servants and masters are supposed to be able to sense other servants' classes, at least. So this is just kind of like, huh? And when asked about it, BB Dubai is just like, huh, that's weird. Yes, BB Dubai could absolutely blind herself with her own BBs. Somebody posting a Record of Ragnarok image. Honestly, when did the anime and the manga of that come out? I don't know. You never know. What arco could have been inspired?
No, Record of Ragnarok has been out for a while. It's been out for like several years.
Could be a reference. It is a kind of a similar dress cut. BB doesn't have the two guys to help her hold it up. She's using her own arm because she's a big, strong Sheikh of Dubai. Anyway, we get to Dubai in the year 2030, and things are a little bit weird. First of all, BB's face is everywhere.
She got a little excited.
Yeah. She's set up lots of stuff to make sure that our vacation is great. Basically, sorry, let me clear my throat a little. But basically, to kind of make a long story short, where we're at in the story right now, Lucky is correct in that BB Dubai hasn't actually done anything evil, even though she has set herself up as the final boss, behind an impassable barrier and everything. In general, it just seems like she's just really excited to throw another summer event, so she's gone overboard in making sure everything works out perfectly. Honestly, she's doing okay. I do like that several people, like, kind of, know the lore, right? Mm-hmm. Which is that, I saw several people, when they saw BB Lily, air quotes, scare quotes. Why does your name tag say
they call it out
Kazura? Immediately.
Yeah.
But I saw several people tweet something to the effect of like, oh, so our guide is Satan. What are you doing here? Because like, here's the thing, gang. If you know, you know. Kazura Drop's not a nice Sakura 5. She's not a nice alter ego, normally. We'll get into that later with her own event drop. But yeah, I think it's pretty alright that some people have cottoned on to that, she's definitely the way more sinister one here, even though she is small and hanging back. And then later, BB is like, shit, did I book them 2 guides? Whatever, I'm gonna pretend I didn't notice.
Yes, because our other guide is actually Passion Lip, who worked very hard for this. Super excited.
Passion Lip is a very diligent girl. Passion Lip is a nice alter ego. Her problems are more with her, like, her masochistic constitution draws out the worst in other people, and then her other problem is kind of her lack of self-awareness about her giant arms. Now she has awareness about her giant hands, and it makes her self-conscious. You know, where she's like, oh, a woman with giant hands like mine could never wear a swimsuit.
So, like, and, you know, we just say, hold my fucking fruity drink.
That's when, you know, we do the Michael Jordan documentary shot, only it's Fujiwara, and they say, and I took that personally. But yeah, like this event seems kind of split between, like, lots of subtle foreshadowing with what's going on. You know, we even at one point, after some stuff happens, cut back to the command center where, you know, we've, like, got Kadok out from where he's resting. Shout out to our main man, Gordolf, though, who's, like, figured out the best way to let us kind of have our own time with our vacation was to go to his room and catch up on his racing game backlog. Good to know they still have Steam sales in the Bleached Earth. No, I'll say this. This is my own personal canon. I bet Dr. Roman set that shit up.
Probably.
He had them use you know, Caldeus and Shiva to emulate the internet. You know that. You know he had Steam included in that. What a G. Also, by the way, shout out to them. Also, now that we've seen her as an Ordeal Call character, we actually see Elrond. She's here.
Yep, record keeper.
That's cool. But, like, things back on the Storm border are also kind of fucked up, where Da Vinci is like, well, we can continue to confirm the Master's existence, but also, we can't call him and shit's weird. And
what's that? A new signal?
Yeah.
A new signal? 70% chance it's a beast!
And everybody just does a shock shot. And this was a thing I did reference earlier, which was somebody did post some screenshots of, like, everybody all together of being, like, whether or not they're too squished. But we get a little spread out. But yeah, no, our vacation is not just a vacation. Everybody is concerned. So like I said, we're like half set up because this is caused by one of our servants is canonically Summer ERESH. She as Summer ERESH was one of the first ones to show up, but she's having problems. She's been having, you know, odd headaches the whole time. And then when we wake up on, I think the third day technically, because the first day we just like bus in and go to the hotel. But on the third day, she wakes up and she's got a little horn, and she's immediately like, oh no, I have a horn. I guess I'm a beast. I guess I have to destroy humanity. Even at this stage, she's still Summer ERESH, so she still has her gap moe. She's her clumsiness, as her profile refers to it. So, she's not very good at that. And, you know, we managed to calm her down, and our answer to this problem, because ERESH doesn't want to worry anybody, not even MASH, is to not tell anybody about it. It's like Sherlock Holmes never left us. But we tie a little ribbon around it. And I personally, I bet everybody is kind of like, I sense there's an enemy I need to fight. That's not going to be about Ereshkigal, I bet. That's going to be some other problem. But yeah, our gang is, we have the boys, Percival, Karna, and Bart with his phone. I do like that, first of all, great work for Percy. He's integrated into this event super great. Not only does he have different sprites where he flicks his shades down, which is great, but also his shirt is buttoned up. But canonically, when he switches into battle mode, he had Merlin and the gang tune it. It bursts open to reveal his muscles.
And, they are glorious, glorious muscles. Oh my god.
Yeah. No, honestly, some people are getting some vibes that, you know, maybe if you are playing a female master, about maybe some Master X Percival action in this event. I saw some people making some jokes about, you know, if you're not going to play past the controller, like this, because no, there are some vibes in this event. Honestly, given the writing's not that distant between male and female, you know, you might even go the other way too.
Maybe some for everybody.
Listen, yeah. And we are accompanied by Jufu, Tenochtitlan, Nikic, and ERESH. What I think is very interesting about this event is, even though she is the headliner of it, so far, you know, we're only a few days in, but we're about to unlock Section 5. So far, Seal hasn't shown up. I don't even think she's been, like, in the background.
No, like, if I'm understanding, like, characters and stuff, I think only once ERESH starts ERESHing more will Seal make an appearance, I think. I'm not sure.
I think. That makes sense. We will see. Because, like, it seems kind of like they went out of their way to do her as Space ERESH and make her very special as the anniversary bonus. But they always she's very clearly written into this story as the Summer ERESH version, like, all the way down.
Yeah.
Whereas I definitely kind of feel like it is the joke we made when they announced Seal, which is like, yes, we've had first anniversary servant, but what about second anniversary servant? like Seal feels much more like she is the type of Type Moon cameo we would do at anniversary, but also she's in a swimsuit, and also she's from space, so, we get to do double lifting, basically. Like, I think, honestly, the reason why BB Dubai is not up is because she's got a hidden ascension that's going to play into whatever direction this is going at the end of this event. But I personally am like, some of this makes me suspicious. They talk about her, newly constructed tower that looks like a spaceship, and I'm just like, You going to space? You sending me to space, Nasu? You wrote this Ordeal Call.
Joke's on you. We're already in space.
We could already be in space. They do make some notes that, like, actually, and generally, we've got, I won't call them out on in front of hundreds of people, but we actually have a community member who's in the Discord who's a pretty frequent poster who lives in the UAE. So, like, it's if you're curious, the geography is pretty spot on. The landmarks, the arrangement of things are pretty true to life. Definitely sent some people to Dubai as research to make sure, like, everything is, like, proportioned out and stuff.
Oh, no, the two things that I didn't found hilarious that they called out is traffic is actually way worse. Way worse. And the Palm Resort and the Ferris wheel are actually right next to each other. Which Passion Lip did call out that was a little weird.
Yes, so far when things are apart, usually somebody notes that is not to the guidebook, because both Percival and obviously Passion Lip as our guide have read the books. So, like, when they are changing it from real life, they are calling it out. And this even, goes down to the funny thing. The three portraits of BB that are everywhere are supposed to be the three sheikhs of, but BB has been democratically elected their ruler because she fixed everything, including, apparently, no accidental deaths. Weird. And you may be wondering to yourself, that doesn't sound right. Isn't this a monarchy? Don't worry, the characters also have that thought. We'll figure that out later. That's a future us problem. A future us problem, because we're already in the future.
Double future.
Yeah. So, like, usually when things are not true to life, they are sure to call it out, which is, I appreciate that fact, right? We're a far cry from the weirdness of the America chapters, America Singularity, where they just went like, I don't know, time's fucked up, everything's compressed. Here, hike from Chicago to California. We're just like, no, that would not work in a reasonable time frame. But yeah, so, like, part of this seems like it's foreshadowing for what will obviously lead into the Archetype Inception stuff. The rest of this is just a summer event, like doing our normal kind of summer cameos. At the hotel, you see lots of characters in the background, including the breakfast buffet, which apparently is true to life. The hotels are apparently pretty cracked.
No, like I said, I was actually in Dubai back in 2006, and that's when it was still being constructed. So there wasn't a lot of resort there. It was a lot of construction building and stuff, but you could see the plans that they have for stuff there, because they would have the little board where it's like, this is what it's going to look like when it's done. You just look at it and you go like, this place is going to be fucking cracked. What is this, the future? Turns out, yes.
Yeah, kind of. In the year 2030. But we run into Chiyome at the buffet, who offers to poison test everything for us.
This was just a slight ruse to get her to actually, eat something because she was having an indecision. Also, shout out to that quest. I love it. When you defeat enemies, they give you food plus, but if you take too many, your character gets overstuffed. I thought that was fucking clever. That gave me joy.
No, that was another classic callback to Luluwaha of, like, fighting deadlines and shit, right? Like, The battle is a metaphor for look at all these delicious foods. There was even the golden door, which was like the door to delicious Arabian cuisine. Very good design in this event. So, like, that's great. Obviously, I saw several people say it, but I'll say it too. When does Miyochi get her own summer skin? Summer Chiyome, baby. Let's go. She was there. She deserves it. But even further than that, we get involved in a few other things. We go, variously sightseeing. One of our big sightseeing is to go to the beach, where we encounter, a mysterious beach house, which is ruler Artorias Orwengan. Very funny that she had a problem where she tried to show up, but she's like, casinos are not allowed.
Gasp.
And that is actually true. There's not supposed to be gambling in the UAE. They do have like bars, but they're like confined to hotels because in Islam you're not supposed to drink alcohol. So yeah, that does actually track. But so she's instead set up kind of like a gift shop shopping center. It seems like all of our previous summer Knights of the Round are there hanging out. They do kind of, walk up to Percival and they're like, "Hey, Percy, what's going on? Now you're here. Hey, we want to..." And then Lancelot's about like, "You want to go hit on some babes?" And I don't know if Mash physically restrains him or just, blasts him with her psychic stare.
I'm pretty sure it was a blast with a psychic stare.
But she gets him. She gets that guy. So there's some great moments there. This does turn into, though, having some of its own future stuff. Ruler Artoria talks about having to hire a part-timer, and then later we see that part-timer, and it is Hakunon. We mentioned her earlier. That was, like I said, a thing that a couple of people were like, "Whoa, wasn't expecting to see you so early."
I love how when you're asking me, "Yeah, I need a super special swimsuit for a super special girl." Hakunon's like, "Yes, are these her 3 sizes and her perfect personality?" And you're just like, "Yes, how'd you know that?" And she's like, "Part-timer since." I'm like, "Cool, thanks, great."
Thanks, Senpai. Thanks, future Senpai. Also, that is a great line because, yes, you describe Passion Lip as super cute, and Artoria is like, "A super cute swimsuit for a super cute girl, huh? Shit, I gotta go to the back." But it's great because, yes, this is the first day Passion Lip is our guide, and she clearly wants to play in the water and is kind of, like, jealous. We don't recognize Hakunon because she's got her hair up. Also, that was, like, a weird space. Can't you pick which one it is you see?
It's always tied to whatever gender you are.
Right, it's right. It's the same as you. So yeah, that is still like an ambiguous situation. Maybe we'll think about it later. But different costume, different hairstyle. That's why we were talking about costumes earlier. But yeah, so Lip, feels a little, not quite jealous it seems, but does feel a little put out that she can't play in the water. She can't play on the playground with all the other summer ladies, and that's when we're like, "Lip, I'm gonna get you a swimsuit."
No, it's great. I think my favorite thing is that it, like, getting Lip the swimsuit, is one of the major joy counter go up. It made it go way up, too.
Yeah, so, like, we go to the Burj Khalifa and, like, the main tower, and BB is just like, "Hello, take this. Those signs everywhere? Those are joy counters. I will also give you a personal joy counter. Here's a giant barrier. You cannot penetrate this barrier until you get 998 on your joy counter. Once you have achieved maximum joy, come see me at the top of the tower as the final boss." She has, like, literally gamified us having a good summer vacation. But also, it does let you kind of know, like, this is a thing we have talked about before, but, like, even with events like this, you can see how Fujimaru Ritsuka is their own person. Like, you do have personality as the master. This comes up several times of, like, your joy counter's not gonna go up if you can't, like, help out, right?
Yeah.
Like, just relaxing and doing nothing doesn't fill you with joy. You don't have to, like, help a lot. Like, you don't have to be fucking dying, walking across burning sand or anything. But, like, seeing other people, do stuff for you and not being able to do stuff in turn does kind of, like, give you the agita. So we decide to pitch in with Artoria's thing and keep an ear out for anything we can do to help her out on the beachfront. And we do, decide to help out Passion Lip. We talked about it when it was shown off in the event, but I do love the design Wadarko has done for this costume. Like, it's not just that Lip has a new look and, like, slightly alters her arms, but, like, Wadarko even redrew her face a little bit. Like, it seems like she's got, like, lipstick on now.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Like, has her hair in little buns. Like, it's cute. I love it.
Nah.
Also, another thing, by the way, that's very funny to see in this event. Sorry to... were you going to say something about Lip?
Yes.
Yeah, go for it before I move on.
No, I do like the reason why we do not get, Summer Lip right now is because she says, like, this is a physical swimsuit. It's not tied to her spirit organ. So if she tries to fight in it, it will rip. And it's too precious, so she can't. No,
it is a good excuse. I also do love, like, it's very interesting the way the Sakura 5 kind of, like, interact with each other. Kazura Drop, like, insists on calling BB sister because she's like, it would be weird to call her mother. But Lip still calls BB Dubai mother because that's kind of, like, where her point of view is. And Lip does get a couple of digs at Melt in her mind.
Yes.
Not out loud. But it is kind of interesting. And listen, Melt's great. She's super cool. Lip isn't wrong though about Melt is defined in a way by her own selfishness. Like that's her alter ego focus. So like it's very funny for her to be calling out, but also it's also very amusing to me that like it's like, yes, interesting, Lip. You keep that an inside thought. They've all got their own flaws. But what I was gonna move on to was it was kind of shown in a few of these other events, but this is another place where it really takes off about like. Yeah, I do love the little. They're not quite floaties, but they're like the kind of like pink crystal on her arms that makes them look like floaties. No, I'm so glad that I did decide to rectify that. Like they weren't sure they could pull it off. Wadarko's like, hold my pen, I got this. Honestly, we'll probably see in a materials or something later. Like there were a few revisions of this design, some of which may not have been permissible in FGO.
No, Lip's front pack is very entertainingly placed.
It is absolutely there for a reason, her little crossbody bag. But yeah, one other thing that we've seen throughout this event, but especially in this part, is that I don't know if it's just because it's her Summer Spirit origin, or if it's because she is now just Tenochilan, but that city horny. Like, she's constantly trying to, like, sneak some schmoves on you and being, like, talking about that, including downright at one point being like, well, there's no point of walking on the beach if we're not alone. Like, she's making moves.
She is making moves. I did look up that term that she calls you. I can't remember what it was called, but it does basically just mean priest. Can't remember what it was, because it was...
Yeah, she only actually says it, like, once. Maybe she'll say it more once as part of her playable lines. But yeah, no, that's... Feels like that's not too uncommon for servants to, refer to the master that way as, like, summoner, priest, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, also, Tenochilan is very horny for infrastructure.
Well, yeah, no, she's here to judge, judge the city on its merits. Also, might be sent on an undercover mission by fucking Tez.
Yes, no, I do like that Tez Cotley approaches her and is like, all right, okay, it's summer, you need to represent us. Why me? Because I can't let those other bozos do it.
They're dumb.
They
said Bird Brain and Kukulkan. I was like, are they talking about Jaguar Man and Kukulkan, or are we talking about Quetz and Kukulkan?
I think Bird Brain is supposed to be Ketz as the feathered serpent, and then Kukulkan is separate.
Okay.
Because they're related, but not the exact same deity.
Okay.
I think Tezcatlipoca doesn't talk about Jaguar Man too much, because technically Jaguar Man is an aspect of a god that is also Tezcatlipoca.
This is one of those things, like, don't think about it. Don't think about it.
I think for his own sanity, Tez has to just not think about that one. Ignore it. Listen, Summer Jaguar Man, Summer Taiga. That'd be great.
Man, I'm still on the boat for, like, Summer Cuckoo.
No, actually, I think a Summer Cuckoo hit would be pretty all right. That would be pretty foreseeable. But if we're talking, there's a world of wonders out there for those with eyes to see. Tezcatlipoca. But no, yes, the sending Tenok on a secret mission to raise the Mesoamerican stonks is very funny. The consummate businessman. Again, not enough for him to, like, throw himself in the ring, as like a costume,
this
right?
Year.
Like, yeah, like he's like, no, you gotta go. But again, like I said, it's kind of interesting the way the banners are broken up, because obviously Jufu and Nikic do come with us. And Nikic right now just seems to be kind of vibing.
I mean, she's there just having fun, literally.
Yeah.
She's like, it's her first time wearing a swimsuit. She likes how free it moves. Playing in the water is nice.
Everybody loves playing in the water. Whereas
Nikovic's emotions are, like, very pure and unbiased.
Yeah, very, very simple. Like, kind of head empty, no thoughts, but, like, still a very positive, person of just like, well, we're here to chill. We're gonna eat, we'll eat. We're gonna swim, we'll swim. I sense something bestial, don't worry about it. Whereas, like, ERESH is like, I mean, it's her first time wearing a swimsuit. ERESH is here to summer. She's ready for the dating sim. She's locked in, headaches aside. But yeah, the swimsuit sequence is very nice. And that one, like I said, that top to bottom, that's just like a normal beat in a summer story. Right down to, like, we're playing in the water and these fucking hooligans, these cringy rebels, dare I say. Still not 100% sure about that one.
I wonder what the original Japanese was.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels like it was supposed to be, like, a little lame. Like, even as like a lame nickname, it's a little silly, but it makes Mordred cringe, which I guess means it worked. But yeah, apparently Canis and Mordred discovered the aquaboard thing.
Yeah.
Where you jet above the water. So that's great. I love the fucking water safety tip we get where like Canis is just like, I'm a writer now, I would have an accident, and Percival is like turns to spikes the camera. It's like, that's not true, by the way. Accidents can occur to anyone. When you're riding a jet ski, you have to be aware of both your own safety and the safety of others.
It's important.
Yeah. So like that turns into a whole takedown thing, which is very, very funny. Lip uses her trash and crash to compress the water. Percival surfs on his own spear, or on his own armor, to catch Mordred. And all of it's a ruse just to lure them ashore, where Ruler Artoria eventually catches them and is like, all right, enough tomfoolery, you work for me now.
And they're like, okay.
Little sad we didn't get Summer Martha involved straight up, but you take her to the fight. But yeah, and then the next interlude where we're at right now is we go to the mall.
Yep. We have to fight BB for a round, just so she can give us a prize, which is a gold card, not a black card, a gold card.
But the BB gold card, yeah. And I do like that BB's like, no, I can't give you infinite money. That would really fuck up the economy. But it's a lot of money, okay? Like, you're rich, but you're not that rich. No, it's great. And her making us fight her to like show it off.
I mean, it's like, that's as a final boss would do.
Yeah, you gotta earn it.
Sometimes, yeah. No, I know some people have mixed feelings about BB, but I love BB. I love BB to death.
I like BB as a character, but also I'm like, I feel like my evil Dar is not fooled. I'm like, when BB goes, I'm the evil Kohai, I'm like, yes, correct, you are the evil Kohai. Good job.
Yeah.
Pats on head, gets ready to, spank her and throw her back out.
Yeah, no. Like I said, when this is all done, BB's getting sentenced to what I like to call, the 1 week maid costume and the 1 week bunny girl costume. Because ultimately,
go ahead.
Mm-hmm. No, please finish.
So I was going to finish because this is a different joke. But that is my joke for why I've never unlocked Summer BB's costume, because she said she actually doesn't prefer to be tan, and I'm like, well, I prefer you to be tan, so you're stuck here.
No, Summer, like I said, we're still low stakes and nothing's really created, but I am excited for this. To see what comes.
I like it a lot. It's just like, it's very interesting to be this early and kind of be like, okay, so we're getting like our summer like check-in scenes, our little moments. Even in the mall, you have a bunch of servants milling around the mall, which is very fun, including a little Summer Ishtar cameo. I like that ERESH gets a dig.
Shop. Yep.
She's like, oh, even there's a bunch of servants here enjoying themselves. There may have been one Queen of Heaven who was, freaking out and showing her side, but I'm just going to pretend I didn't see her. No, it's great. And even showing some servants who don't have summers. There was a, little rhyme and Scheherazade in the bookstore. Gotta be honest, I think I saw some people joking in our Discord about the Summer Scheherazade. Wouldn't be much different from her normal costume. The design team would have to get creative to make it stand out. I'm not saying they couldn't, but we'd have to do some extra effort. I don't know, like my mind's kind of thinking of like the weird little bubble thing that her and Nudicrous rode in. Like that should just be one of the Ascensions. She's just like inside the giant water robot. So she's like wearing a swimsuit, but she's inside the bubble.
I'm assuming that if we were to do a Summer Scheherazade, we'd probably pull inspiration from one of her tales.
Oh, I don't actually think Sinbad was in the Aliawala Lift, but it's one of the ones that got added. Pirate Shez? Come on. Anyway, like I said, we never know, but there's lots of cameos here that's very fun. So I'm interested to see the gang. It's interesting, but I do kind of like it. I feel like we're as part of like the tour effect, I feel like we're rotating our supporting cast a little bit. Like there was that first fight where you have to violently break up a protest and everybody feels very weird about it. Thank you, FGO. You go out of your way to be like, definitely do not harm them technically, but like Tenochtitlan like sits out of the fight and like, we catch it. At the beach, Jufu sees that among several other social type summer servants that Paisen is there, and so she's like, I'm taking my smoke break, bye. And we're just like, okay, be back later. Don't even try and stop her. We're just like, yeah, see you back at the hotel.
That's how well we understand each other.
Yeah. And during the mall, because of her horn incident, ERESH is like, I'm actually not feeling that well. I'm not going to fight.
Mhm.
Also, she has plus advantage against BB, so,
Also, I do like that we've sealed her MP with the, the headache debuff.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty neat.
She's not ready to lock and rock. That will presumably show up more as this comes out, because it'll be very interesting. I did talk about this in the Wanted for Space ERESH, and you can see it in her profiles that are available now. She will get, like, extra profile details, like, added, overhauled when we do actually get to complete Archetype Inception, I think is the unlock. But the way it describes her now is that, like, her second ascension, the Space ERESH, is, like, basically loses her Gap Moe. Like, she loses, it's described as her clumsiness, and she becomes a true heroine, goes full on into her, cool beauty mode. So I'm very interested to see that kind of, like, crop up in the actual story, either now or again, maybe in Archetype Inception. I'm not sure, like, when we'll actually do, like, the twisty turny,
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, it's odd to think of this as the prologue for a story drop, but also is a summer event. And so it's a little slower, a little more steadier paced, but it is actually nice and relaxing. And we're doing a pretty good job kind of with the ensemble cast. So we will keep up with following that.
Yeah.
And, like I said, we'll keep our eyes peeled. Did we get a flash of XXA yet? I don't think so.
No, we have not.
No. They talk about, some various people kind of moving in the shadows, but yeah, she hasn't shown up yet, and as I did mention, Seal isn't visible at all yet. That one will probably be similar to Hakunan. We'll just be minding our own fucking business, and she'll be there.
No, like I said, I feel like XX and Seal will show up once, Beast things start intensifying.
Definitely feels...
That's
like
how I feel. Like I said, I don't actually know much about what happens in, this event or the next event. Like, I actually kept myself fairly spoiler free, so I'm in the shadows about most of the stuff happening here. So I can only make educated guesses.
Yeah, we will see the whole thing when we see the whole thing, as we usually do. And then we'll also see the follow-up because, the Ordeal Call comes out. That's going to be in sections as well. And there will be some bleed over. I'm not hundo p sure, like how it's gonna work, but I feel like the way the Ordeal Call is gonna be is that it's mostly gonna be the same supporting cast, basically. Like it's gonna be all the same units, hence why BB Dubai, Tanachilan, and XXA are on the what's called the Archetype Inception banner. So like I presume most of these people are gonna come back. I'm kind of interested to see if we get some more detail on a few more, because, like, right now, Karna just kind of seems like he's here to be here, but also I feel like he's definitely here because of his connection to Jinako.
Mm.
And we haven't really done anything with that yet.
Honestly, though, the Karna, this swimsuit, it's so good. It's so fucking good.
No, it's a great look. Like, I also wouldn't be shocked if Karna's in this just because Paco drew the fit and the team was just like, well, shit, now we gotta put Karna in this. Like, this is a great fit. No, as usual, all of the guys have some great details. Like, Bart's to me feels a little funny because it's, he's like, hair swept back, but the phone detail is just so good. That was another thing also that, like, he kind of rotated out. Like, he went to go boating in the lagoon.
It's like, I'm a pirate. Boats.
And apparently got sick, so he wasn't able to help us out. So, like, I expect we'll probably rotate through, a few of these core characters and cameos and see some stuff. So that's nice. But that is going to bring an end, I think, to free talk. Like I said, we'll probably do the... Actually, no, we will do the... If we're recording, we'll do the pregame for Ordeal Call, at least through part 1, next week. I will look at the stuff that happens in the different parts and see whether or not I want to partition the pregame for, like, spoiler reasons, or if it's, short enough that we just want to get it all out at once. I'll figure that out next week, but we will actually talk about Archetype Inception, because that is only about 2 weeks away from now. Well, next we're recording on the 24th, and it's going to be the 29th is the drop. Possibly technically the 30th, depending on time zone. But that means we're leaving free talk, and we're moving to What's Up, where we have discussion about different things going on throughout the week. For now, I think I want to start the check-in. The Kingdom Come Deliverance check-in. Anything to say about Kingdom Come Deliverance, Lucky?
This game is poorly optimized for the PlayStation. It's been crashing a lot. I get like 2 or 3 crashes a day with this game.
Yeah, you phrased that to me when it came up in like casual conversation as like, when you do start playing it, make sure to save often. It crashes more than 2077 did at launch, and I was just like, wow, gosh, that's saying something.
No,
because
like I said,
I do want to say that was a game that even for me on PS5, 1.0 of Cyberpunk crashed like literally once a session.
Yeah. No, I've literally had Kingdom's Deliverance crash like 2 to 3 times a day. And the problem with this is like, it's not the crashing that bugs me so much as the fact that the game's saving system is so spotty that I can lose literally hours worth of progress. Since there's no like, the autosave system is based on basically 2 things: quest progression and sleeping. And not every quest progress saves the game. Like, you'll usually get a save state when you start the quest, and you'll get a save state when you end the quest, and maybe you'll get a save state in between. Maybe. I'm not entirely sure. But only that and sleeping is when you get auto saves. Every other time you want to save, you gotta frickin' pop a schnapps potion, which ups your alcohol, ups your nourishment, and so you gotta be careful about that. So the fact that, I'm crashing, when like randomly, like, oh god, the one that pissed me off so badly was like yesterday when I crashed like 2 minutes before I was actually gonna manually save, and I was just like,
I was going to save.
It's time to go to bed. It's time to go to bed. It's sleep now. So that is quite irritating. I still have bones to pick about combat. Did I talk about peasants with Master Strike last week? Do you remember this?
No, I do not remember the Master Strike discussion. We talked last week, I think, about getting ganged up on.
Yes, no. So this is a follow-up about getting ganged up on. Fighting in solo combat 1s or 2s, fine. But there's something that I have realized about this game that makes no goddamn sense, is that peasants armed with, like, wood axes and, weapons literally called Grandpa's Sword are way too good at melee fucking combat. There is an ability that you can get called Master Strikes, which you basically can parry and riposte an attack at the same time. You have to basically beat a commander of a town's guard to learn it, and then you get to use it. Peasants, serfs, lowly bandits just do it automatically out in the field, and I'm just like, wait a fucking minute. That makes no sense. Why are, lowly brigands in here better swordsmen than I am? Because here's a problem I have with combat. Especially when you get, groups into groups of others. If you start swinging at people, they will block, they will parry, they will riposte. If they riposte, they'll do some damage, and they'll lock you into an animation while their friends can still come up on you and whack you to death. This is one of the reasons why, dogs are such a problem in the game, because if a dog grabs you, well, guess what? You can't defend against attacks from others. And they're not afraid. They're not afraid to
grab.
Yeah, no. And they're not afraid to, like, get in your grill, while they do this, too. Like, despite me wearing, like, plate mail, well, no, I mean, I have, cloth armor, mail, chainmail, and plate. I can still die within 3 seconds if, 4 dudes with just weapons just wail on me while I'm either locked in an animation because a peasant just, blocked my attack perfectly and is able to slap me, or if a dog decides to bite my arm and hold me there. It's like, it makes no sense. A lot of people are like, oh yeah, well, serfs, had to train for warfare too. I'm like, yeah, they're literally trained as fucking meat shields and spear carriers. Do not fucking try to justify this fucking bullshit excuse. Like, 2 weeks out of a year is not enough to make you a fucking master swordsman. And
what I was gonna say was that, like, on the one hand, I understand, brigands, people who fight for a living, like, they should be experienced in, not dying, but using advanced techniques is different. Like, these guys are not formally schooled, probably.
No. And it's like, here's the thing. The way that, banditry works, it's attacks with opportunities and a show of force through numbers. There's actually very little fighting to be done. It's not like, every freaking, traveler there has a bevy of guards to protect them from incidents on the road.
Also, I don't necessarily know how the engine is set up for this, but banditry is, as Licky said, usually an opportunities game, and the opportunity cost for a guy who knows how to use a sword is a little tough, so I would think that most bandits would be a little trepidatious to try and bounce you if you took down one or two of them. Then you got to start running your actuarial table of, is it worth it to roll this guy when he killed Hans and Franz?
You see, that's the weird thing. The guys are supposed to want to run away, but they don't. Like sometimes if once in a while, if I take down a dude, if I'm hitting a dude, sometimes they'll surrender. And then, at that point I have to, focus on another dude and they'll run away. But me coming up on a horse with a giant bloody, it's bloody by the way, it literally has a marker for covered in blood, war axe at my hip, covered in chainmail and plate. I think people who are wearing nothing but, cloth should go, maybe we shouldn't fuck with him today. Probably a bad idea. No, they're like, get some! And unfortunately, they have a 50% chance of winning because combat jank is sorable. I know I've talked about how targeting terrain is bad.
We talked about the jank with groups of like targeting and stuff like that.
It's like if they had like one good guy and then a bunch of other scrums who I could dispatch quickly, I think that makes sense. But no, every single one of them is able to pull off master strikes. Every single one of them will parry one of my attacks before I can do a full combo. Because that's one of the things that this game has. It has a combo system. If you basically swing your weapon in a certain pattern, you'll do a special move. The problem is you have to be close enough to the dude to do them and not have them interrupted. Usually my strikes get interrupted or dodged by the second hit, and and it gets fucked up. So it's just like,
that's mean.
You want
to chain hits, but then you don't let them chain hits. That sucks.
Yeah. So no, like combat again really seems to be like messing with me in this game, which is a shame because, like I said, fighting one or two guys at once, fighting like duels 1-on-1, there's super fucking fun. They actually have a tourney that you can do every week in game where you basically have to fight like 6 fights to like win a prize. It's just 1-on-1. I love it. I do it like every week. I'm just like, yeah, get some. Like, cause it's fun to, move around, do positioning, clinch and push away and not have to worry about, getting stabbed in the back and just, having, good, clean, martial fun. But like every time I get out in the wild, like you have to be careful about fast traveling because I like this, but it's still a pain. When you fast travel, it's not instant teleportation. You actually move overland and you can run into events like obstacles, guys on the road, banditry, and you have the option to, run away and not engage, but it's, chance based to disengage freely. There are like abilities you get to make.
That feels like old school, like some CRPG stuff kind of blending in there, even though this game doesn't sound like it's actually a CRPG, as it were. I guess technically
but
it's an RPG. It's computer.
It is an RPG, and it is an RPG. Like I said, you do level up, and it's closer to what I would say. It's closer to like Oblivion than I would say Skyrim, though. Now that I think about it,
an action RPG that's just getting a little close to immersive sim.
Yeah. But combat, like I said, like continues to be this weird throttle because, like, as you gain in levels, I do feel like the enemies are getting better and better armor. Like, I'm running into like bandits who are wearing plate of their own. I'm just like, where did you get that? Like, chainmail and plate is not easy to get.
No, it is notoriously expensive and difficult to maintain.
So I'm just all like, why are these dudes living in a camp in the woods, have, like full chain sets and, pieces of plate? It's not like, like they have like full on cuirasses, chausses, pauldrons, gloves of just full metal. I'm just all like, wait a fucking minute. I thought we're supposed to be fucking, semi-realistic here.
These guys are just Bandito burritos. They should just have, padded armor, quilted armor.
Yeah, padded armor.
Maybe some riveted leathers.
Gambited, like riveted, like stuff. Things that aren't like full metal, but sure enough, they have them. And I'm just like, oh god. Like the Cumans in there, it makes sense. They're fucking Cumans. They're literally invading, marauding armies. So it's like, if they're like headed to the nines, it makes fucking sense. But not for the bandits. Like I said, when the Cumans kick my ass, I'm not really fussed about that. That's, to be expected. It's when the bandits kick
I guess my joke would be like, when you fight armored enemies like the Cumans and the bandits, are you just leaving their bits in the dirt? Is that how they're getting them? They're just picking it up from all the guys you're successfully beating up to get stronger later?
No, because I loot every single body I take down.
Yeah,
they get none of it.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, Scaling enemies is always a very interesting question in game design. Personally, I feel like it was very popular, speaking of which, in the Skyrim era, which, like, actually, we've had this conversation before, but when did the first Kingdom Come Deliverance come out?
It was...
Yeah, when was we? 2018. 2018. Also, it's very funny, the Google search I found this, 3 down, above even Deep Silver's own website, is a Reddit thread from a year ago on r/Patient Gamers called Kingdom Come Deliverance. Good until it isn't. Kingdom Come Deliverance is a weird game. And I'm like, yeah. They do also call it kind of like a Bethesda-style open world, but with more realistic kind of sim elements. And it's like, yeah, no, it seems kind of the vibes, so...
Like, I'm enjoying it, but there's, like, so many little things here. Like, archery is realistic. You don't get an aiming reticule, and you don't fire, like, a bow, like, straight on. It's, like, because, you know, of how you own it, it's a little bit of an angle. But I can never pinpoint the exact angle. And so many times, and it drives me mad every time, I have missed people by whiskers. And I'm just like, ah! Every
That's
time
it
happens.
Is if people can retreat. I don't know if you've ever been missed at close range by, you know, a medieval era shortbow or longbow, but that's another thing that should make you reconsider your fucking life.
No, I am dead serious. I have shot arrows that just would normally just graze your cheek and leave, you know, a scratch on. And I'm just like, God damn it. This is the reason why I started poisoning everything. I can poison my arrows and my weapons. Guess what? If you get hit by this, you're going to have a fucking bad day.
There's no rules against it. I'm going to get you.
Like I said, it might be against honor and chivalry, but you're fucking bandits and invaders. I do not care.
Get him out of there. I mean, well, you're not, you know, a knight yet. You're just a guy.
Well, by this part of the story, I have been made a squire, so... But no one's explained chivalry to me. I just learned how to read.
You're bad at it. You just learned how to read. God, it's the fucking DW meme just with the Geneva Convention. This time I won't stop me because I can't read. Actually, I am pretty sure in this time period, the Pope probably says it's okay to poison invaders and bandits. That's okay with God.
Well, from what I understand, he said it's okay to, you know, torture heathens. There is a quest line you can do with was it like Waldensians, which was an offshoot branch of the Catholic Church. This is part when we're also in the big Pope schism of the 1300s.
The Popening.
The big Popening. So yeah, no, people are kind of fucked. So yeah, no, whatever. You're a bandit or cumin, you get poisoned. You're not one of those. Well, we can have a fair fight, I guess.
Definitely, I think we've drawn this analogy before. It definitely sounds like this game is like they played Skyrim and were like, "This is really cool," but instead of like modding their own Skyrim to be, you know, realistic medieval blacksmith simulator, they like built their own game, you know, kind of a thing, like taking the historical fiction into it. Which is, like, neat, but also is going to come with its own problems because, boy, Bethesda games, very janky. I think prior to Cyberpunk, the console game I owned that crashed the most was probably Fallout 3. New Vegas was better. I think I've talked about this. Famously, Fallout 3 was a game I played on console, on PS3, that would... So it wasn't about processor power. PS3 was pretty stonks for its era, but... sometimes Fallout 3 would crash on the loading screen between doors. You would go from interior to exterior and it would fucking explode. Wild times. But yeah, that's interesting. You know, I do think I will eventually. I have it downloaded. I will pick up KCD and actually play it. Like, right now I have not been playing a lot of games. Part of it is because, like I said, my sinuses have been fucking bothering me. I haven't, like, been in Vintage Story in several days. I think I mentioned this in a different locale. I did pick up the Skitari DLC, and I've played a little bit of Dark Tide, but not like a lot. So like I've haven't been going super ham on games. Mostly the thing I've been playing is Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel's got a couple of events going on right now for free currency, and so I have been playing that. But that's always a complex love-hate relationship, because sometimes you have fun playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And sometimes you do not have fun playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And sometimes, even if you have fun playing Yu-Gi-Oh!, you look at the clock and you go, holy shit, that single duel took like 20 minutes. It really should not have taken that long. So,
no, yeah, like, I still want to recommend, like, KCD, yeah. Like, it is a fun game. And some of the storyline is hilarious. There's one storyline you're doing when you're trying to track down bandits some bandits who did an attack on a nearby ranch. You run into a priest who's like, man, I can't tell you, man, that break my, my priestly vows, and you know, you start making one exception, well, then you start gotta making exceptions all over the time. But, come drink with me, we'll think about something in the morning, and you have an absolute drunk adventure with the priest. Which ends up with you in the morning in the field with the sheep. The priest is going bah, bah, as you walk towards the sunrise. You look at the beautiful sunrise and just puke off the side. And then wake up later. And after you wake up, you have to go give a sermon in the priest's place because he's too hungover to do it.
No, we've got, very good writing. It sounds like,
no, the writing is good. It's like a very good story. It's just honestly, the thing that I think bugs me the most is, fast traveling is actually not that great because you actually move slower than you do if you would actually just rode there actually on a horse. It's good if you just don't want to, spend time, looking at, the idyllic, European countryside.
That's another interesting design factor. That one I think we've talked about, but that feels like another thing that's kind of like a response to Skyrim of just everybody just fast travels everywhere. They don't look at anything, once you discover it. Never mind, I think that's also just, personally, the way Skyrim is designed, I think fast travel is mandatory. I know some people are like, no, you should ride the horse manually or take a card, but it's no, you don't understand. If I have to cross Skyrim manually, I'm gonna get fucking distracted, okay? A bear's gonna come up, I'm gonna get a quest from a guy, I'm gonna find a ruin I've somehow literally never seen before, and I'm gonna get distracted. When I need to fucking go to Markarth and, give this guy 20 bear pelts, it's one of those things about game design. And, it's very funny to me to, again, the way you and other people have described it is that, in a sense, KCD is very, Bethesda-esque, but also, there's definitely some things that the designers looked at and were like, no, we're going to do this different. We're going to incorporate these aspectos. So yes, I'm glad to say that even though, you have stuff to vent about combat and mechanics, but you're also still I will recommend this game. I will warn you, but I will recommend it. That's always a very solid vibe for video games. Anything else about KCD?
No, I don't think so. No, I think that's it for now.
Okay. I see that. I asked that because, not just because of the normal flow of conversation, but also because that is kind of a good segue into a different bullet point, which is, I don't really know why in particular, if there was excuse me. A little burpy. I don't know if there was a particular press moment to do it or it was just the time to do it, but Bethesda specifically announced a whole slew of stuff via tweet, it seems like, and through some other channels, but they put out a bunch of stuff. This is another weird one. It kind of reminds me of other hype that's gone on about stuff, but I did actually see some people very excited about this, and I'm kind of I'm still very neutral myself because I don't know. I'm getting very jaded when it comes to both. I mean, I've always been a little jaded when it comes to Todd Howard. But I'm getting a little jaded about both Bethesda in specific and just Xbox in general with kind of the way they're going. The current slew of announcements, the slate of announcements, I will preface by saying, to me, it feels very much like we're trying to cover up and we're trying to generate, we're doing a little cover our ass department. We're trying to generate interest from stockholders and investors and, make us still look cool to the C-suite. Despite the fact that, they've just done huge layoffs at Bethesda and Obsidian. But they have announced that Fallout 5 is officially in pre-production. This is where I'm yeah, and? That's an announcement that I'm I fucking knew that already, Todd Howard. What's your problem, man? How long has Elder Scrolls 6 been in pre-production, huh?
I do like this announcement. It's it will come out after Elder Scrolls 6. I'm all that game doesn't exist.
So it'll come out in the year 2030 in Dubai? Yeah, no. It's the Fallout 5 announcement is, as usual, a huge nothing burger. It's just, yeah, we're working on Fallout 5. And I'm yeah, I knew that. I knew you were doing that. Call me when you've got some fucking footage, when you've got at least some key art to show me, maybe. And honestly, the other announcements are also kind of non-announcements. One of them that is interesting is that they did say that they are working with Obsidian again on a Fallout project. No details, but yes, the meme is dead, and Todd Howard has finally let Obsidian out of the cage. So, New Vegas 2, maybe something like that. I don't know. We'll see.
Give me Fallout Seattle.
That would also be a cool one. I want an NCR Expeditionary Force to be up there. They probably have, like a Cascadia or something government instead. But I want there to be some NCR guys up there just so they can be like, the nuclear winter almost makes me wish for the Mojave. As they're getting fucking rained and snowed out all the time. But technically they did formally announce something that I believe has been informally announced and suspected for a long time, which is officially Bethesda is working on remasters of Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. This is something that, like I said, I personally am no, I kind of figured that out already. The Oblivion remaster that they shadow dropped, was that this year or was that last year? I think it was last year. Because there was a lot of people about like Fallout Day in like November or October or something. I know, shame on me, I don't remember what Fallout New Vegas Day is. Or maybe it was the 11/11 Bethesda Day. But like people were thinking there would be a shadow drop of that too, and it didn't happen. Because they weren't working on it or did not have it in a state previously because they didn't realize that people were so interested in that. So like Todd officially did announce that they are in fact working on it. This is another one where like I've seen some people be like, oh, I'm excited about this. And I'm like, I can't say that I'm not excited. I have gone on the record as saying, like, if a Fallout New Vegas remaster, like, shadow dropped, I'm, like, clearing my fucking schedule. Like, I really like Fallout New Vegas, gang. It's a very good video game. And I am also one of those people where I have tried to play Fallout 4 multiple times and have just not been able to get into it. I don't know why exactly. Honestly, it's probably because it's trying too... I don't even know if it's trying too hard, but it's like, it's too similar to Fallout 3's opening for me. It's just like, oh no, I'm in the vault. Oh no, my family member has gone missing. I must go into the vault. Where the fuck did they go? I don't know, man. I'm lost. I'm not from here. I guess I'll just bumblefuck my way until the plot shows up.
There's a lot of bumblefucking.
But this time I have a garage with a dog and power armor.
I mean, I did like that bit.
No, that is cool. Like, honestly, I don't hate the way they kind of treat the power armor as like a super mode. That's neat. It's just that, like, I feel like they went, as much as I like settlement building, I think they relied on that one a little too heavily to, like, suck you in. Whereas, like, the way Fallout 3 opens, like, you stumble out of the vault, which is a much more extended sequence as well, but you stumble out of the vault and, like, you know, your nearest settlement is Megaton, right? Which is, like, chock full of, like, plot hooks and interesting things and people you want to punch. Like you, Moriarty. That, like, you get, like, really sucked into it. And honestly, I think the game wants you to dilly-dally in Megaton for a little bit, because if you try to go after your dad, like in Galaxy News Radio right away, that sucks. There's so many super mutants in the DC ruins. But yeah, like I don't know, the hooks for Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas feel better than 4. 4 feels very, like I said, bumblefucky. So I have personally not been able to get into it, and I've given it a fair shake a couple of times. Like I don't know
honestly,
if I'll ever play it through.
Like, honestly, I feel like Fallout is one of those series that I need to play on PC so I have access to all the mods, not just their fucking curated mod list.
Yeah, I would definitely think about it. Like, I've played a lot of Fallout on console historically, but also it'll be interesting to see kind of like what the scene is like these days. But like, so like my schedule is probably still cleared when a Fallout New Vegas remaster comes out. Maybe not for 3. I wouldn't mind giving 3 another crack, but it is also really interesting. In terms of, like, the difference in, like, writing styles and stuff. And you can compare and contrast, because, speaking of mods, people on the internet are freaks, and if you have Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas baseline, you can play A Tale of Two Wastelands, and you can literally bridge those two games together. It's a little crazy. But yeah, like I said, this is another one of those announcements where, like, people seem very hype. On the one hand, I'm like, I mean, that's very cool. I'd love to see, you know, a New Vegas remaster, be a little polish, get a little bug fix, you know. Hopefully bundle all the, like, literally all the DLC stuff in right away. But at the same time, it's also kind of like, yeah, I expect... This is the bare minimum I expect from Bethesda, actually. Like, they had a successful remaster. I expected more of those. They had it... What do you call it? They launched a brand new IP that did not perform as great as they wanted. You know, I expect that they're gonna go back to their old favorites. And that's why, like I said, that sounds like a thing where, like, they're trying to massage people's concerns that they're fucking cooked after all the layoffs and stuff at Xbox.
They're still fucking cooked.
They're still a little cooked. It's not great. I know a lot of people are mourning that it seems like Arcane's going to be hung out high and dry. Like, there's a lot of bad juju out there. And I mean, I'm going to say this, it's not the current CEO's fault. You know, it's one of those things where, like, Phil Spencer left, we got a new lady in, and she's going to take some of the flack for some of these decisions when it's not her fault. But yeah, hey, it turns out the system of line go up, infinite growth, we will simply buy studios to increase our market share by having them put our games on Xbox, and we will simply force everyone to grow our market share by having them buy Game Pass. Yeah, it didn't fucking work. I don't think Sony's current business of trying to grow their market share by pushing everybody to be digital and shit is gonna work out great either. But there's still some wiggle room for that decision to change. We'll see.
No, you can't go on to a Sony posted anything without everyone in the comments posting about the fucking digital sales.
Yeah, no, in fact, not that I want to, because we brought this up when we talked about this the first time. You absolutely should continue to make your opinion known, but it's also one of those things that's like, I've seen some people, like a developer posted it, like, linked a trailer of their game that got posted on YouTube, and they're like, oh yes, our game is available now on PlayStation. I wonder there's so many comments, I wonder what it's all about. Oh no.
Yeah,
like,
it's just that, like, I don't mind people, like, you know, there's that, but I do want to, you know, have discussions about the game, you know, not, like, you know, this other thing.
I want people to have their opinions be heard, and I do think that being loud about it is the only way to get this to change, but at some point you got to be careful that you're not just drowning everything out, like, and do not try to drag down, like, other game developers, too. Like, the official sentiment seems to be that even Sony first-party studios didn't know about this announcement ahead of time. Like, you know, Insomniac and Wolverine were cracking jokes about physical in-disc, like, literally days before, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I would say to be careful about that. It reminds me of a moment that I don't think anybody in our community will mind. I was going to say I'm hesitant to bring up. No, I don't think anybody in our community participated in this, but I think I may have mentioned this in a podcast a while ago. But there was a period in the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG, in the physical card game, where a ban list was very in demand. And so it got so bad that under every post Konami of America would make, you know, about the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG, somebody would post a image, which I think was AI generated, of a vomiting horse, and, like, it was a really nasty image. You couldn't go anywhere without seeing this fucking horse. And, like, as much as I'm like, okay, I understand we're protesting, you know, we need a ban list, we need product updates, etc., I'm tired of seeing this fucking horse everywhere. You're not ruining Konami's day, you're ruining my day, right?
Right.
Like, it's the thing you got to be careful about protesting. You know,
it's one of the things I always talk about. Protesting is fine, but when you start interrupting my work or my flow, that's where I'm like, all right, you got to stop.
Like, I understand the desire to draw attention to the general public about your thing, but you shouldn't stonewall the general public as well. That's not going to get them on your side. You're just going to cause problems. Direct your impediments to the people it matters. That's personally why I think that, you know, it's perfectly okay for you to fucking protest outside the houses of Supreme Court justices, and when they're like, you can't do that, you're just being a little ninny.
Yeah.
When you block, like, a normal DC highway for people just trying to live their lives, you know, that's different.
That's different. No.
But yeah, so like I said, the Fallout news is, like, cool, you know, okay hand from me, but also it's like, I don't know, I just, it's another thing where I see people trying to, like, be excited about it and stuff, and I'm just like, I don't know, I'm in that jaded phase when it came to Bethesda and Fallout, where I'm just like, yeah, I expected all of this. I'm not hype at all until you show me stuff or give me dates. I'm just like, this is just a you know, this is just Todd Howard's waking dream. You know, he could wake up at any time and the dream will end. But to talk about something that's actually coming out and is super cool, Lucky, you watched the new Ghost in the Shell yet?
No, I haven't. I've been waiting. I'm gonna watch it with my friend who I watch anime with. But
Okay,
I have been
okay.
keeping track of people talking about scenes, and it looks amazing. I am so glad that the Major made Bato punch himself in the face again. That gives me joy every time.
Yeah, so, in the last episode, spoilers, I guess, but not really spoilers, because everybody knows about the meme, but, the lesbian orgy happens, it's just everybody's wearing bikinis this time. Like, the scene is still very much that, but there's just no titties in it, because they show it on TV.
I'm okay with this.
The Major gets some great expressions. No, it's a very good scene, overall. But I wanted to bring it up because it's very interesting, and I will be very much interested to hear your thoughts, because also last weekend on movie night, we watched the Mamoru Oshii Ghost in the Shell movie.
Yeah.
And we had some thoughts about that I want to loop into this. But I am very glad that we watched that, not just to watch it, because I believe that was both our first times actually like sitting down and focus watching it all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
But also, again, to remind you how short the original Ghost in the Shell manga is, the TV show is already adapting stuff that was in the movie. Like episode 2, the back half of episode 2 is already at the garbage man scene, basically. So like, it's going to be very interesting to do these kind of like side-by-side comparisons. You've already seen people doing side-by-side comparisons, and it's, again, very interesting to see kind of the different vibes and stuff. But it throws, I think, a lot of things about the movie into stark relief. It's one of those things that, like, we did talk about while watching Ghost in the Shell, and like I said, I'll be interested to see you kind of check in when you actually have caught up with the series. But,
yeah,
this
I should
is
be
like
watching it this Monday or Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah,
so we'll check in. Dude, late enough on like a Tuesday that I think the third episode will be out. I think it's like a midnighty thing. I'm not sure.
Nah, it won't be that late. But
yeah, I usually catch it like Tuesday evening after FP myself, but it's come out earlier that day. But yeah, so it will be interesting to be able to do these kinds of like side by sides, because it is kind of fomenting a conversation on the internet right now. And like, personally, I am the holy shit, like 5 cakes. There's a lot of Ghost in the Shell gang. Like, I'm personally of that attitude, because I do think that every adaptation does kind of do something different. Like, even by this one cleaving so close to the manga, it's technically being different than the ones that came before it.
Mm-hmm.
But some people are kind of like not sure how to vibe. Me personally, I love a gremlin woman, so like, I am not like in distress, because I know there are some people who are like, I'm having a hard time with this, you know, gremlin woman major. This is damaging my self-image of you know, the cool collected major. First, I want to say we'll get there. In the manga, Motoko does have a bit of an arc, and I think that's the thing that you and I both caught watching the Mamoru Oshii film, which is like the major has a couple of jokes, but like her delivery is very different. She's very deadpan in the movie. I think
we talked about
Yes.
this. She just, starts expositing at Bato on the boat, and Bato's just like, Major, I just wanted to check you were okay. What the fuck?
Major, I just wanted to get on a boat and have some beers, okay? Like, damn, bitch. Tell me about your dreams of being reborn from diving later. Which, by the way, is crazy because you're fucking full of metal. Major's like, it's just what makes me feel alive, okay, man? Bato's like, drive a car. Do what I do. But yeah, like, that is a point of comparison, and I know we when we were watching, we talked about it. You were kind of like hesitant at first, but you were eventually like, no, this is navel gazing, and I agree. Yeah, like, it is a very navel gaze movie. Like, there are a lot of sequences which are devoted not just to like exposition, but to just discussing philosophy, kind of like at you, like mostly from the major, but from a couple of other characters. But like, there are these moments where she just kind of like talks about her vibes, and like we said, Bato just kind of like sits there and sips a beer, or like the rest of the gang just kind of like nods and goes, okay, Major.
No, and this is definitely a hallmark of Oishii's films. Like, I looked this up. He, cut out a lot of content so he can focus on fucking vibes and characters, and the story just kind of came last. Also, he had to put an image of his dog in there because that's what he does. He puts in his dog.
He likes dogs. There'll be more dogs when we do Innocence later. Though, actually, I want to, it's a slight aside, but I wanted to bring this up now because of recent unfortunate news. I've been thinking about doing Jurassic Park this week.
We can do that.
Because if you somehow don't know, chat, unfortunately, Sam Neill passed away this past week, and a lot of people are remembering him. And I don't know if it's his finest movie, but his work in Jurassic Park is really good. And I did think we wanted to hit the original Jurassic Park up in there somewhere.
It is a classic.
Yeah, it is from the Nindies. Because that would be another thing that's interesting, is jumping to Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence, the second Oshii film, is like, that's like 2004, I think. That's like concurrent with Standalone Complex. I do want to go back and hit up Pat Labor and Pat Labor 2, though, as well.
Ah, yes.
As kind of like the to get somewhere that Oshii and C. And people obviously speak very highly of Pat Labor. I've only ever seen clips, so that'll be another good one to grab. But yeah, no, like, we talked about this like while watching the movie and a little bit after. It definitely feels like the Mamoru Oshii film was like Oshii like laser focused in on the stuff that interested him, which was the philosophy of being a complete robot. And then like all the rest of it kind of just like not necessarily cut out, but like let to fade into the background. The Fuchikoma weren't in it at all. Which is like that just like is so much comic relief kind of just like lost.
Yeah.
And, the Major's characterization is very much in her, like, in absolutely her kind of, like, moody phase. Whereas, like, the original manga Motoko, who's seen in the new Science Saga production, is, like, incredibly human, despite being fully robot. This is a woman who loves getting paid, making out, and maybe drinking some booze, or possibly doing brain drugs.
Yeah. Like, this is one of those things that, like, I have to wonder, is, like, how did people who went from, Shiro's original manga to the movie, how did they feel at seeing, like, the Major portrayed in this, highly philosophical way? And then, from that, and then from that ovulation to Standalone Complex, which is kind of a bridge between the two, which I think is, I love Gremlin Major, but I think, Standalone Complex Major is probably, like, the one nearest and dearest to my heart.
Well, you do get to spend a lot more time with her. Even the Science Saga, they said they're only going to be 10 episodes, so it's going to be a different vibe. If I understand, my secondhand knowledge of the manga, as a character, Motoko is supposed to grow more into that moody philosophical person through her exposure to, like, the case. That's not how she feels in the movie, though, right? Like, she is already at the end point of her character arc. She does not change as a character, except literally at the end when she fuses with the Puppet Master and she has to tell Bato, yes, hello, I have become a new person. I am neither Motoko nor the Puppet Master. The whole world is my oyster. I gotta go, Bato, bye.
That was the
net is vast. Ooh. I just want Bato to lean over the balcony of his safe house and go, what the fuck does that mean, Major? What do you mean the net is vast? Like, that's very manga appropriate for Bato, I think, for these moments. Like he's another character who he always had levity, but like I feel like he's much more of a contrast to he's in good company with the Major in the Science Saga adaptation, even down to like all that going out. I mean, I will say I do like something from the manga that they did that's pretty neat is like, Bato's in the fucking jungle. Again, new high quality reaction gif. Bato in the fucking Fuchikoma fanning himself. It's hot. But like, in that scene, like, Aramaki goes in person to talk to him under a thermoptic, like, raincoat, and I'm like, oh, that's neat. I would never have thought of the chief going out into the field to talk to Bato while he's on, like, an op. That's an interesting touch. The different continuities truly are different, but, Bato going through this shit where he fucking, dials the Major. By the way, Major, consider putting on the red do not disturb, Filter that call, maybe. But he fucking brain calls her and he gets sucked into this shit. He's like, I have no idea what the fuck is happening. Major, what the fuck?
No, like, speaking of Standalone Complex Ghost in the Shell, I do think that's where a lot of the Western audience was originally introduced to the Major as a character and Ghost in the Shell as a whole.
Yeah.
So I do think a lot of people's opinions are biased by this, because at best they would have probably gone back to see the original Ghost in the Shell movies.
Yeah.
And maybe, like, because you got to remember, like, not everyone does everything. Like, for every person that probably saw Standalone Complex, maybe a quarter of them would have gone to go see the Ghost in the Shell movies, and then maybe a quarter of those would have gone back to see the original, like, manga. So probably there's only a very small fraction of people who have actually, seen all the media and actually have, the clearest picture.
Yeah. A
lot of people are just going to see, understand the breadth of what they know and form their opinions based upon that. So, which is one of the reasons why I was excited for the new adaptation, which, cleaves closer to home. I still need to actually read the original manga, but it's just one of those things of like, I am loath to, to cry out my opinions on the matter when I am not fully informed on it, which unfortunately too many people are more than willing to do.
Yeah, that is the great curse of our time, is just people got way too comfortable just letting their opinions, sling low.
Yeah.
Like, I'm mostly interested in this, like, forming this opinion and doing this comparison on the back of, like, oh shit, we just watched, Ghost in the Shell by Mamoru Oshii. I tune in the new episode and I'm like, okay, wow. So we're setting up, this stuff already with, we've mentioned the puppet master by name. Okay, there's the interpreter. The garbage man? We're already at the garbage man in episode 2? Kind of a thing, right? So I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
oh shit, all right. So we'll get to do some comparisons. And again, it is very interesting because like the vibes of the chase are very different because in the Science Saru anime they're using the Fujikomas. Like, I also think that the cloak guy's gun is even sillier because he just like shoots the garbage truck once and it like bursts into flame and rolls over, but the guys inside are okay. So I'm like, I don't know what the fuck that was. Nobody comments on that. Like, there's not even like the high velocity round comment. The major comments on the fact that he's using thermoptic camouflage. But like, it's interesting to do those comparisons. And I think the best way to think of it is that like the way they wrote Standalone Complex Major is that like she's another person who, at least in the first season, does not really have a character arc. Like, I don't think season 1 Major like grows or changes as a person all too much. I think her relationships like change. Like, I think she does grow closer to Bato ultimately, and like her relationship to like the case changes, but like she's still basically the same person at the start as she was at the end, But they also, because the show pacing is more introspective and can be more episodic, she does get to be involved in more gags, gets more levity. There's the obviously making Bato punch himself in the face. There's the scene from the episode Yes, where she gets thrown in the garbage and has to change, and like she's clearly mad, but like it becomes kind of a gag for other people. She has to put on her fucking exercise clothes like at work, and like it's very funny. I think it's rent free for a lot of people, but Angel's Share, the episode set in England, when she fucking catches that Bobby off guard by just showing up in nothing but the trench coat, and everybody who watches that scene being like, "Yeah, I'd fold too. I'm doomed." Like, you get to see a more broad view of her character, and even the Science Saru is like, I think, not like fully broadened. I imagine the idea though will again be that it will be more of a character arc kind of a thing where she will grow and change as a person. Because I will admit, right now it is hard to picture this Motoko Kusanagi as the kind of person who goes, "Yeah, sure, Puppet Master, we can plug in brains, we can fuse our brain juice." Like, that doesn't sound like something that's going to get her paid or laid. 2 things that rhyme. That won't be a vacation. So, it is interesting. But I guess we'll see how it plays out. And we'll see if you never know, the Saru might end up adapting the 1.5 machine antibody, and then the proper Ghost in the Shell 2.0 man-machine interface. Which I think Masamune Shiro said that like he originally wrote the first quote-unquote sequel as just kind of like vibin', but people weren't as much of a fan of it because it was much more of his like episodic kind of theme of the week type stuff, and then man-machine interface is just oops all philosophy and the Major's titties. There's apparently a footnote in man-machine interface where Shiro says explicitly, "Yeah, I just stopped drawing the Major's nipples because I had to do it too much." She's diving through cyberspace and stuff topless, and he's just like, I'm giving up. Okay. I will say it's very funny for this. This is a great gut check for a lot of people with the anime to be like, "Oh, okay, the original author of this knows horny ball. Like, this is okay." Whoa. By the way, canonically, it is a lesbian orgy in the original manga because, by Masamune Shiro's own admission, yeah, I didn't want to draw a dude's butt in my magazine.
I mean, fair.
It's like, okay, man, listen, you're the artist, man. Okay. Honestly, other than the lesbian orgy, the overall tone of Ghost in the Shell is like shockingly feels like way less, not horny, but like there's way less casual nudity in the story so far, and I'm not only some of that is an edit for Japanese TV. Like, Mamoru Oshii is like absolutely down to clown with the Major being very naked a lot. Like the whole opening sequence and stuff. I think it's supposed to be kind of an idea of like, the comparison of like, because as a person, the Major in the movie is very sexless. Like, it's just kind of out there, but it's another like difference. And like I said, this is, or actually, like you said to start, and I agree with, the Standalone Complex Major is a lot more balanced out, where like the Major in Standalone Complex is a lady who is much more aware of her own sexuality and what that represents, and even has some fun with that. Like I said, seducing the guard, a couple of other moments. That crazy scene from the sequence from Second Gig with the the kid who's talking about her cybernetic body, and she's like, hey, you want to fight? He asks, hey, can cyborgs have sex? The Major asks him, hey, you want to find out? And the kid's just like, nah, I'm good. The Major telling that kid, all right, you want to play games? Because no, I don't think Major Kusanagi would have fucked that kid, but I think she's like challenging him because like he's a little bit of a rambunctious little rascal, isn't he? Talking about how cool and high quality her body is. Careful what you say. Your words have consequences, gang. But yeah, like I said, it's very interesting to see those side-by-side comparisons. And like I said this when we watched the Mamoru Oshii scene or this movie, I totally understand how the original Ghost in the Shell absolutely would change some people's brain chemistry when it came out in 95, and seeing it later, picking up a cool VHS at your local, video shop back in the day. But also, like, it's very interesting to see now where there are some times where I'm just like, man, we're really just kind of like yapping about philosophy and stuff. And it's like, as me, who's somebody, I've already had my brain chemistry altered. I'm just kind of like nodding along and going like, yeah, everything's virtual. Your body's just a shell. You can change it. Yeah. Okay. It was, what do you call it? Like it's TV tropes calls it Seinfeld is unfunny. Like a lot of the commentary felt very, very basic to me philosophically now, but they were kind of, one of the early adopters of some of this shit. So it's weird to go back and watch. Not to say that the movie is bad. Like it is a beautifully made film. Great shots, great Foley, and like it's very interesting. But also, Lucky did bring this up earlier. Like the like normal beats of a plot are very bare bones. There's like no preface on Section 9. There are almost no introductions to any of the characters. Like I would have a hard time for anybody to like pick some of the secondary characters as like their favorite guy from the Oshii film because like they do not have a lot of characterization. The best you do get is for Bato, and even then he doesn't get that much. Like he mostly feels like he's kind of a foil to the Major.
Yeah.
So like it's very interesting to see the comparison. I will say that's another great thing that's interesting about the show is like we do actually get some like exposition build up identifying the team. I've still hit up the dub, so it's very interesting that they actually for the first time I think ever in English pronounce Borma's name correctly because it is actually supposed to have an R in it, but translation to English of characters can be tricky sometimes. So Boma with like an HA is like HMA was how it was, but it is actually supposed to be Boruma. But like they also kind of actually I think for the first time explain how the Major is supposed to do stuff like make Bato punch himself, which is that in the first episode she gets a ghost key, so like she gains the ability to brain hack in the narrative, and I'm just like, oh shit, I never thought about that. I never thought about like this expositional element. That's just I kind of assumed that she's just that cool, she's that slick. But yeah, it's really the movie was pretty good. The show is real good, and we'll be eager to fill in more information later. All right, that checks off most of the stuff I had in line. Like I said, not crazy up. Before I jump into my next bit, anything else going on with you this week, Lucky?
Not particularly, no.
Okay. Then, as a point of discussion, let's mention a couple little things, and then actually we can talk some Deathwatch because we did Gameski this week. Episode out now.
Yay!
But first, a little check-in with our friends, the award-winning MMO RPG Final Fantasy XIV. A couple of wombos. Lucky mentioned this earlier, but we're getting pretty close to Berlin Fan Fest. July 24th, I want to say, off the top of my head. And that should be right around the time 7.55 drops. Let me actually see.
Yeah, I believe the stream will be Saturday morning for us?
Yes, we have mentioned that in previous episodes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, is it that following Tuesday? Actually, shit, that is a little...
Yes.
That is a little annoying. That's the week after the panel is when my report for jury duty comes up, so which is on a Wednesday, so that'll be a little awkward. We'll figure that out.
And it might not pick you.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta get up at I gotta report at 8:45, so I'm probably gonna be fucking not cattywampus for a normal Wednesday stream, but we'll figure out the scheduling.
Peggy
Sorry,
16.
it was me accidentally firing out the trailer. We may not even be picked. You got to call in the day before, but not a huge population dense county, so they may still need to report. We'll figure that out. But let me see, where is it's the media. I don't see the specific. That's the special site. So I can't find the actual whatchamacallit day it's going to launch. Oh, Chad, I'm pretty sure bringing up that I don't know if this is an appealing thing in a juror, but bringing up that I do have a degree in criminal justice may make me not a great pick for jury selection for either side, but we'll see. I'm not afraid of getting locked in. It's it's $15 a day, but I would prefer to not do it. But we'll see what happens. We don't even know what case we're being selected for, and I am not that I think the local county courthouse is going to track my ass down, but I'm also pretty sure, regardless of being picked or not, I would not supposed to be yapping about it on the podcast until it's resolved. But anyway, patch 7.55 coming up, and that's going to be pretty interesting because that's when we're going to get a few things. We're going to get our next relic step. Many of those are looking pretty good. The book's on fire now and has little wings.
Yeah.
People are making cracks about the because it's got a key on the end. The white mage staff is a keyblade, and warrior gets a hammer. So they're looking pretty good. They're getting pretty fancy pants. But we're gonna get new Hildebrands. We're going to get some new Occult Crescent stuff. I think that will actually be the new zone.
Yes.
And also, I kind of forgot about this because it wasn't in there directly. But we should also be. I think we should be getting, because they showed people are posting the Beastmaster key visual again. And talking about it coming with 7.55. So we should also get Beastmaster then, which is another super, what's the word, in a super anticipated subsystem. So that's a pretty cool patch coming up.
Yeah.
We're very interested in that, and we'll check in more on that later because we will be getting live letters and stuff as well. But in addition to that, there was also another interesting bit of 14 related news, which is hey, I want to preface this by saying this is not Square Enix's fault, necessarily. But Square Enix and mobile games, name a worse duo. We mentioned that Ever Crisis is going to EOS after about 3 years, which was a pretty okay run. But the online mobile version of Final Fantasy XIV Online is also closing up shop. This seems to be mostly because it turns out that this kind of experience is universal, and Tencent is also doing a lot of stepping back from investment in foreign projects and being, having bought into too many studios and projects. So
Tencent was going crazy with acquisition for a while.
Yeah, and even if they weren't acquiring in the same way that Microsoft is acquiring, they were buying shares in a lot of studios. Obviously, this does have some negative implications. This appears to have killed Gang of Dragon, Tencent backed away from publishing it, and that kind of slurped the money out from under the studio, and they have closed up shop. And they also appear to be stepping away from this partnership with Square Enix and closing up shop on the 14 mobile client. And it'll be interesting to see kind of the post-mortem on this. I've heard some people talking about there are a number of reasons why this may be happening. I think Tencent stepping away is obviously the big part of it, but, kind of asking why. People have kind of brought up it's really interesting that it was not aggressively monetized enough for the Chinese home audience. There is no pay to win. The only thing you could get apparently was shop cosmetics. So there was not an aggressive monetization to kind of keep the funding up. And, obviously the story is a little bit behind. You could, I'm pretty sure you could just play Final Fantasy XIV Online. You could just pay your sub and play the game. So yeah, it is closing up shop. It will be interesting because I do want to say that 14's mobile did have several, I should say. It had several unique cosmetics, right? They had hairstyles and I think even glamours that were not implemented in the base game in the mobile port. So it'll be interesting to see if those do crop up later. Some people feel kind of disappointed or feel trepidatious they won't. I don't know. If I was Square Enix, I would not have jumped into a partnership with Tencent. They would have tied our business so closely together that we couldn't reuse assets from this shared project when it closed up. If you're Square Enix, you gotta know when you're making a mobile app, you're taking your life into your hands, okay? This gang does not have a good track record with this shit.
No.
So, I would assume that they still have access to the assets. I don't know, what their relationship with Tencent was in that part. But it will be interesting to see if those cosmetics do, what do you call it? Filter down. But yeah, it's interesting. I know some people talked about how there were some interesting way they did the combat mechanics in mobile. Obviously, like I said, there were some new cosmetic options, so it's interesting. But at the same time, it was kind of like a thing of like, I mean, I wasn't interested in playing Final Fantasy XIV on my phone.
Like, I can understand this might be upset for me, but like I said, Final Fantasy XIV is still there. It's still playable. It still exists. Like, I never understood who the market for Final Fantasy XIV Mobile really was. I guess it was for the Chinese and maybe, you know, people who like do not necessarily have a lot of time to sit around at home. Maybe.
Yeah, from what I understand, and you know, get in the comments if you know, the China is currently through kind of a phase where like there is still a pretty large amount of PC gaming, but also there are, you know, like government restrictions and advisories about like screen time and that kind of stuff with PCs and certain regulations you want to keep in mind. Mobile games are also regulated, but it's very different, you know, about like when you're on your phone gaming and stuff like that.
Like, I don't.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and I would guess that probably Tencent pitched it, and then when
that's my assumption.
Anymore, you know, that's why it's like straight up going away when Tencent says they're getting out of it. Is like Square Enix is like, well, we're not going to run this solo. This was not our idea. So yeah, it's a weird one. Like personally, I think this is a problem Square Enix has run into with a couple of their projects. They've come up with a few of these mobile games that have not lasted very long because they insist on putting them on phones, and it's like, I don't know, man, you can't do a Steam port, or even if you can't do a Steam port, you can't make something that runs on a phone run on a Nintendo Switch? Switch 1? I don't know. Like, honestly, I think that is part of why Ever Crisis lasted so long. Like, I honestly did not stick with Ever Crisis that long. Like, I ran through the story chapters that were kind of available at the start and then kind of fell off because I was just kind of like, for the most part, saying, you know, most of the normal FF7 stuff I was super familiar with. The stuff with kind of like the First Soldier side, which was another mobile game that didn't go anywhere because you put a Battle Royale game on phones, Square Enix. Yeah, I know PUBG Mobile is really popular in certain markets, but that's because it's popular in markets where people don't got anything else to play. Like, PUBG Mobile, I think, goes crazy all over East Asia because, again, it's very different markets there. You know, you can't apply that same level of applicability to, like, what, you know, customers in America and Europe will do. And even your own customers in Japan. Like, they do love mobile games in Japan, but I think they also play these games very differently than lots of other places as well. But, like, I think Ever Crisis lasted quite a while, because of the fact that it was also, they did, you know, announce that they were planning on porting it to Steam, and did port it to Steam not too long after it came out. Like, they had enough to get the customer base to be involved to also play it on PC. So, it's an interesting one. And yeah, I agree that, like, if some of the, you know, neat cosmetics they came up with and you know, the new looks are, like, not ported over, I will be sad because that's just kind of, like, wasted work. But this was not a product for me, and so, you know, I'm kind of, and I'm still, you know, could literally log into Final Fantasy XIV right the fuck now, you know? So, like, it's not a huge loss, but it was an interesting discussion. And like I said, I've seen some people kind of be like, you know, do the old usual, like, oh, you know, like I joked earlier, you know, Square Enix mobile game at end of service, you know, name a better pairing. Because, like, it's true, but I also don't think it's necessarily their fault. Like, they probably did not start this project thinking about, you know, Tencent backing out. So, yeah, that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
But let us wrap up. We've been going for over 3 hours, almost 3.5. Let's talk a little bit about Deathwatch. Our regularly ongoing campaign. Started a new mission, and indeed, the gang did get to try out some new toys.
Yeah.
In multiple ways. Sniperius did get to bring his shiny new Reaper autocannon, and the thing we're learning from this, from both that and another thing I did, which is Twin Linked crazy.
Twin Link crazy.
You know, if anybody's curious about it, maybe I should bring this up to the rest of the gang. Consider you know, I think you guys are at the renown level where you can just get normal combi bolters, which is just two bolters taped together. They don't have to be, you know, combi melters or combi flamers.
Actually, I have to double check that. I think they do. I don't think like the rules for combi weapon was until like Rogue Trader.
No, I think
you know,
the default combi weapon listed in the table is two bolters because it should just be a normal bolter stat line with twin linked, and then they specify if it's a combi melt, a combi plasma, combi flamer that instead of the twin linked it has a single shot, you know, thingy under it. And if it's not in core, it'll be in, I want to say, Rites of Battle, you know, with everything else, because that is one of the default weapons for a Terminator is a combi bolter. Because you gotta have a shitload of renown and requisition for Terminator armor anyway, but the other weapons Terminators are paired with are also super expensive, the fucking missile launchers and assault cannons and stuff. But twin-linked autocannon, autogun, actually no, should say autocannon. Autogun would be baby weapon for babies, not adjusted for Spesmarin. The Reaper doing very well. Personally, I do kind of think that like my balancing act is like you were very effective on target. You were doing multifold jobs, including that, you know, with it being twin-linked and having a decent semi-auto rate, you were able to, you know, do as much as you could with a normal bolter to hordes, which is a step up for Sniperius. But
Yes.
you did chew through a decent amount of ammo in what was effectively the first encounter. It was, you know, a staged encounter with multiple phases, but you used a decent chunk.
Let me see here. I kept the notes. I have used 26 out of my 200 penetrators in one combat, and that was just the first combats.
Yeah. But there were some other tricks. You know, there's a few things that weren't didn't have too new a vibe to. Like I think Loth said that he basically stuck to his normal standard grab because he did specifically pick, you know, a power sword as opposed to anything else, but like his equipment list is currently pretty fixed. And he
Also might
have
have
to fuck
something
around
to
too
do
much.
that I was angrily staring and yelling at people who hadn't done their fucking list at the moment, so they just went, we'll just go what I did with last time.
I mean, and like if Loth was just like, yeah, I didn't think about it too much, but I did, you know, I will just go with my normal one. Like there was a few in there. Like I think, you know, Dallas has tried out a few things. He's got some different grenades. You know, he did think about it. I did have to rattle his cage a little. I just mentally threatened to pipe bomb him, you know, but we got there. And Axe found a new toy in the Ragefire plasma gun, and Aaron can now actually use the plasma cannon. But there was a little bit of comments after the session, and I think I did goof a little up with a couple of things. I don't want to say that I goofed up by giving you the sabers in the first place, because like I think those were pretty instrumental to the way I had the encounter designed in my mind. Like if you didn't have those heavy weapon options, definitely think there were some parts of the fight that would have been probably annoyingly tough.
Maybe.
Like
I don't know.
Your damage was pretty all right, and like there were some crazy hits there, but I also think that like I don't know how. Yeah, Dallas specifically went to his Kraken rounds for extra pen. Like I'm not sure how good against like some of the stuff. Like for instance, Dallas or Loth would have been with just their normal like bolter side shots.
No, like I can understand that, but I do want to say that you having the sabers then like kind of made you run over my initial plan for what I had on the train, because like I just let it go in the moment, but I actually wanted the guys a lot closer together to do stuff, but because of the saber platforms and I guess people not understanding what I'm saying, we basically just strung ourselves up a lot further in the combat.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit of, I don't want to say a group misunderstanding, but that like I remember, and people can listen to the episode and double check. Like I checked in a couple of times about the distance, and it did seem like you wanted people to be closer together, but the gang was thinking a little more spread out. I was trying to find like the right numbers.
No, and like I said, this was the problem because, like, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but the problem is the train was way too damn long. Not actually way too damn long, because this is how trains actually were, but I felt like players are like, no, we need to protect the entire train. I'm like, no, we don't.
No, like, I definitely think you guys could have spread that out a little, because you had pretty long ranges, and like, I gave the enemy, like, room to approach in their vehicles. Which,
yeah, no, because my thought is the guys are either gonna jump on the train and then engage us, or they're gonna shoot at us from the train. They're not just gonna randomly shoot the fucking train.
Yeah, no.
So, we didn't need to actually like spread out to the. We didn't have to spread out to the limit.
Maybe I should have had somebody like ask for like I mean, I didn't call for like tactics rolls about it or like thoughts, because it didn't. Nobody was like, what's the word? Questioning, right? Like their tactics. Like that could have been a question that got brought up as like, okay, what is the Gene Stealer's goal going to be? Well, they are going to try and attack the train, but that probably means they're either going to try and stop the engine, or they're going to try and get rid of you so they can get on and like capture or destroy the supplies, because they don't know like where the supplies are in this train, you know?
Yeah. So like, and for my part, I didn't want to like make a big fuss about it in the moment, because we're playing and I've been trying not to have, these arguments in play.
Yeah.
So, like, I just kind of let it run because ultimately, it's like I said, we could have handled it. It's just that I felt like what I was trying to explain to the group of what I wanted to do did not get conveyed. And I do feel like the Saber platforms kind of contributed to that because we had to place them in the area and we were trying to figure out like a good area. And I think like there was just some confusion in there as well. But ultimately, it didn't matter. I will say we did take those Gene Stealers to task quite admirably. We did lose both the Saber platforms, which honestly I personally like. It's one of those things of like
one where I thought about where I'm like, okay, what are they going to shoot at? They're going to shoot at you. They have twin-linked autocannons. That's scary.
Yeah, no.
But I can shoot.
So
at
like losing
platforms.
the the big turrets. I think it's one of those things. It like feels that we're losing or using resources, and
it is a tangible loss because we did show that they are pretty effective because they were twin-linked heavy bolters. Maybe I should have given you the twin-linked multi-las version instead.
Pew pew pew.
That would have probably been pretty decent for light vehicles, but would have left a little more meat on the big boy's bones. But yeah, and I did say, I think there were definitely two missteps that I did actively make. And honestly, it's a thing I talked about afterward because we did have some conversations about it, and we're going to kind of see how it rides. Aaron had very mixed feelings. Like, I think we started the session very strong, but then kind of like, there was a literal moment where, I won't say saying he got cucked is kind of like, a little dismissive parlance, but like, did get schmooved out of some actions, and that was one thing I was absolutely tagged later as like, no, that's my bad. That was competing instincts, and I should have done that one different and just said fuck it. But like you said, right, trying to not make a whole argument in session. Like honestly, the session flowed pretty good. Like for once, like it was a well, maybe not for once, but like we've had some episodes of Deathwatch and definitely of Rain that did not flow. Like whether that's just too much exposition or whatever, but like this one flowed pretty good. So like you get hesitant to break the flow. So my first goof was I did this, like I said, in waves where like as soon as you eliminated the one wave, I rolled for the next wave to show up. Like as opposed to like the orcs had kind of like a time delay thing. At one point because I rolled bottom tier in the initiative, but I think it was actually you who scored the final kill on the guys. The bikers?
Maybe, because I was in the middle of the initiative at that point, if I remember correctly.
You were in the middle. And so they got last, so like, or maybe it was Brand polished them off?
No, it wasn't Brand, because Brand was below me.
Oh,
and
no,
he got
I bet it was
Loth,
Loth, right? Because I think they just went and shot at Loth, and then Loth went, so it would have been, I think it would have been Brand, then them. I don't know. The episode's out, like, we can double check. But like, the bottom two of the initiative were like, at risk of getting cut out, and I was like, because I did make a big show of saying, like, oh, some of these guys have, missile launchers. That sounds dangerous. I didn't want to immediately be like, and they're going right now, even though I rolled like dog shit on the initiative. But in retrospect, it was like, no, I absolutely should not have denied a player or two their turns to get a crack at these guys. Like they had front-mounted heavy bolters as well. I absolutely could have like chump blocked you guys and been like, no, they're waiting for a better shot to shoot you with their missiles. You better hurry the fuck up and kill them. That kind of a thing. So that was one moment that was like absolutely a goof. And then my second goof was like talking about smoothing things over. Definitely should have double checked the rule on walking targets. It's fucking 2 meters, it's not 5 meters. That wasn't just my fuck up. That was a group fuck up. Several people were talking about that. But it's like, no, we definitely should have double checked that shit. Like, it's the kind of thing where, like, once Dallas gets into rolling all those fucking hits and damage dice, it's like, okay, well, he's rolled all these dice. I don't want to just be like, no. But it's like, I absolutely should have done that. One thing I was thinking about that I'm wondering if I should implement is, like, do I need to implement, like, the rule of take-backsies where I give you guys an official take-backsies if I have to be like, okay, nope, we're going to step the game state back, we're going to readjust, and then, like, if you guys want to be later, like, wait, shit, even though it's not my turn, I've completely fucked this up, I would like to spend an official take-backsie to, go back and readjust this. Because, like, I'll let you guys go back and readjust when you catch it, but there's definitely a feeling of, like, no, you've already been, like, moving and shooting, okay, bud? We're in it now. And we definitely want to stick to that going forward. But, like, I don't know if I need to, like, adjust that rule. But that was one of the things I talked about, which is, like, I think I need to get, like, I don't like to be strict on my players to, like, harsh their buzz, because I'm not concerned about being fair to me. Honestly, like, I know Lucky and a couple of the other players, they're more concerned about being fair to me. But because of how tactical Deathwatch is, I'm starting to see that, like, I need to be stricter, not to be fair to me, but to be fair to the other player characters, because this is a tactical, combat-heavy game where, like, everybody kind of has their role to play, and, like, if I let other players get away with too much just because Dallas can't roll a 1 on initiative to save his life, like, completely different vibes. Dallas also rolled several Righteous Furies this time, but, like, every time he did, he rolled like shit on the bonus D10. Like, super trash. Very funny. But, like, there are times where I'm like, no, I think I need to be better about this to double check all of the like, the rules and be checking on the keywords. And if, bless you, I'm not actively doing it, I need to be more open with, like, okay, somebody whose turn it's not, double check this for me while we figure this out, you know?
Yeah.
Which is something I know that, like, Aaron did a couple of sessions ago when he went down. Like, it's one of those things where, like, there. Because, like, it's, you know, talking about, like, us not remembering all our keywords. I think Axe mentioned it very briefly that the Ragefire has Volatile. Anybody know what Volatile does? I didn't double check in the session. I went to double check after. In Deathwatch, Volatile means that your 10's automatically Righteous Fury. That's it.
Oh.
So he shouldn't even have to roll to confirm.
Oh, okay.
I think there are other weapons that give Volatile, but yeah, it's just a straight up positive. So I don't know if he thought it might be a negative that didn't come up because he didn't jam, but, like, no, it's just, I think it says something like, volatile weapons are overcharged with kinetic energy. On a 10, they always confirm Righteous Fury. That's it. That's as far as I saw. Like, I didn't think there was a second paragraph there. So, like, and that's, like, not that would have made him less effective, but he also scored some Righteous Fury hits. It was very funny because, you know, we went through the whole, like, just to confirm, you're planning on weapons teching this, right? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to weapons tech this unless I, like, completely botch it. And then he rolled multiple Righteous... He got his 10s to explode a couple of times, and like I said, that should have been automatic. It did not matter. He completely overkilled that fucking guy and did not need to weapons tech. But yeah, like, not being better about checking in the rules and, like, you know, being fair to the other player characters and, like, kind of accidentally cutting Brand out of initiative, I know, made Aaron feel a little bad. Which is a shame, because, like, I think that, like, he did get to be pretty effective and did get to show off some new toys. I talked about how I wanted to see how everybody's rolling with their new vibes. Like, the plasma cannon's pretty cool.
That's rad.
Like, a heavy anti-armor weapon that also has blast, so you can just fucking smelt some hordes, too. And, you know, you got to fire a couple times. It seemed pretty good. His fucking resistance to cold came up. This actually did matter because I only breached a couple of people's armors. Lutheron failed his toughness check and to go sub-zero at, like, you know, hundreds of kilometers per hour or something. Probably a little less than that because the G's to their vehicles had to keep up. But you're on a fast ass train. Yeah. And, you know, I did actually breach Brand's armor a couple of times, and he was able to soak it on the toughness. Like, we talked about this ahead of time because at one point Aaron was like, oh, my resistance cold might actually come up. Like, yeah, how do I phrase this? He bought that because he's a space wolf, not he can buy it because he's a space wolf. It's a normal Deathwatch, like, factor. It's just that he picked up specifically resistance cold because it's like it was a character thing. So, like, I was like, oh, I can definitely make that come up, you know. So, like, that was neat. But I know that he was talking about it, and he you know, took some time to digest it, and, like, he did kind of feel like Brand was not necessarily as a character pulling his weight, but not quite to the level where he, like, wants to switch like Dallas, because, like, he has fun playing Brand.
Yeah, I was actually a little worried that me with the Reaper autocannon was, like, stealing too much of his glory, but he said that was okay, so I was like, all right.
I think it was just the combination of, like, because I included the sabers, like, without any, like, maybe I should have made it a rec spend. I don't know. I was trying to figure out a way to make, like, the two sections, like, both equally cool. Like, personally, I think you did a very clever and a very nice thing of, like, not only picking the train job, but also being like, no, Sisters of Battle, all of you go on the convoy mission. We will solo the train job. And I'm like, ooh, now you're thinking with renown. Mm-hmm. Like that was a good pick. But I wanted to make it so that, like, they were customizable. Like, you guys, if you guys had decided to escort the vehicle convoy, you could have either, like, well, when I originally wrote it, Dallas was still a White Scar, so, like, you all could have gotten on bikes, or could have taken, like, a normal Rhino, or could have upgraded to, like, the Razorback or maybe a Whirlwind, you know, kind of a thing. Like, you could have had options. And then, like, I maybe should have emphasized with the sabers. Because, like, I think for sure if Dallas was still a White Scar, he would have absolutely have pushed for the vehicle convoy so he could do sick bike tricks. And I think there's a decent chance that the team would have gone along with it just because, like, well, you know, it is his hat.
I know. I probably still would have pushed for. Like, I had out of character reasons for wanting the train job and like making those choices. Renown was great, but combat takes a fucking forever, and it takes even longer the more moving parts you have. The minute we had to involve the sisters in battle and driving on that, oh my god!
I mean, the sisters probably I could have done them just as easily, like passively with some stuff. And they do have some. They've got some Horde rule units, which, you know, you guys can interact with by maybe giving them command checks later, for interaction with cool mechanics. But yeah, no, definitely the thing you talked about with, like, you were correct, because you did say this in the episode, which is like, well, if we do a vehicle combat, then somebody has to drive, and it's like, no, you are right, that will complicate the action economy, because people will have to choose to, you know, drive or maintain speed and maybe make maneuvers, you know, whereas definitely, like, part of the reason why you guys were so effective in the train job, as it were, was because everybody was able to be attacking, right? Like, you were all able to kind of, like, pick and choose your moments to run in. Honestly, sorry, X in patron chat being like, oh, and you find stalwart defense, you know, do his tech marine shit for super cover. Because, boy, cover's good. That would have been another thing if I and the others would be able to pick up on your original plan, lucky to be tighter together. That could have been, like, a thing to be like, oh, stalwart defense is a different move? Is that your Storm Warden ability? That'd be interesting. We need we're thinking a lot more about patterns. We spent like a good, like, I want to say like 20 or 30 minutes kind of discussing like oath picking and stuff like that.
Like I said, like, I'm gonna pat myself on the back, but I do feel like I'm like well suited for command and tactical things. I usually put a lot of thought into this stuff, and I'm willing to be like, nope, we're gonna figure this out.
Yeah, no, like, we had to sit down and actually read over our options, but no, I think you're usually pretty good at, like, looking at your options being like, okay, I see the pluses and minuses, but I think we want to go with this. Because there was actual debate about, like, what the benefits were, but I think the decision was that, like, while some of the stuff in, Oath of the Astartes is, like, super cool, the Oath of the Weapon, like, the jamming, that's fun, that's neat, that's okay. But, so it's a parry thing. That's very good for those guys. Well, you have to get in some melee conflicts. We'll try and set up some shorter range shit. Or maybe you'll just stand at the end of a bridge in the upcoming siege and be like, come at me!
Well, like, this is one of the things I'm going to talk about. Like, I haven't mentioned it because we're in a game, but I do think that when the session starts, before we, like, start moving out to the Reliquary or the Alpine thing, we're going to, you know, spend some time in town, you know, kiss babies and hand out food while Sniperius, you know, assesses the defensive capability of this area, because we're probably gonna have to make a hot escape. So, you know, finding our key defensive to
whatchamacallit, hold the line. So, and that means I wrote about that.
Yeah. Which means I might find a nice checkpoint and say, Tech Marines, stand there and do not let anything pass.
Spoilers. The river is frozen, so it's technically crossable, but it's difficult terrain. There is a bridge. You can have your Tech Marine either stand on the bridge or just be like, fuck it, Tech Marine, remove bridge.
So I was actually looking up earlier, like, how much do fucking flatbed weigh? Can we use those for cover? Yeah, unfortunately, it's a lot.
Way more than in tandem. You could probably, like, take it off the track, but it seems like it'd be very awkward.
No, it'd be very
time-consuming to set up.
No, you probably can't, Axe. Hang on, let me see here, because I looked this up.
Lucky looked up the stats. They're probably very ludicrous. They're meant to be very sturdy. I mean, at the very least, there can be some kind of, like, passive stuff. Like, the sisters are not just going to only be, like, you know, evacuating civilians and handing out, you know, blankets. Some of them will also probably be doing the equivalent of, like, you know, packing sandbags, stacking empty crates to you know, make cover, that kind of a thing. So, you know, there'll be a little bit of defensive improvement passively. But like I was saying earlier, I think the train decision was pretty efficient and worked out pretty well, and I did give you guys, like, a little bit of extra.
Like, sorry, I was going to say, you don't understand. Actually, flatbeds can carry a fuck ton of weight, but they have to weigh. It's like their lightweight, which I believe is how much they weigh, not carrying anything, is 83,000 pounds.
Oi! No, that'll be a lot of kilograms. Hold on, can I convert that real quick? My browser being a little slow.
Let's see here.
I know it used to be Google would just do a calculator for me, but I'm sure they took that off the default app. because they're foolish.
I got it right.
Oh, you got
here.
it?
Hang on.
Okay.
Yeah. That's how many kilograms that is. So maybe like the 5 of us can grab one, drag it, put it in place, but it would be a whole team effort.
It's almost kilogram 40,000. Yeah, like the Tech Marine can lift about a fourth of that. I would assume the rest of you non-Tech Marines is probably going to be more like a fifth, maybe. Some of you are not that buff for Space Marines. Like, you could do it as a team effort, but that would be like one at a time. You have to all carry it. I would probably make like some of you, X number of you, make, that. Also, actually, I have to double check what the difference between lifting and carrying is, because it's like, are you supposed to be moving when you lift things? I guess you have a much better pushing weight. Like, if you set it somewhere where you could roll it, your push weight is like way higher, but, you have to flip it over eventually to make it cover.
And feet straight, it would be good, but you can only use it like once per session, and it lasts rounds equal to your rank, which we are minimum rank.
It's a thing where like it's doable, but is it worth all the extra hullabaloo when you can do something different, right? Like,
yeah,
can your Tech Marine just build cover? Can you find something else to do? It's a pity. I think you guys blew up those enemy vehicles real good. You could have. Well, you were also on a train, but like you could have like stolen their hull.
I'm about to say, I noticed that the fucking what was it? What would you call it? The Alferis? Alferis? What was it? The Alpha?
Jackal Alphas.
The Alphas had a sniper rifle. I was like, what sniper rifle is that? But it's like, I blew her up. And it's like, well, it's gone.
That's okay. That stat block will come back later.
Yay!
Unfortunately, I do think it is a human-sized sniper rifle, so your Tech Marine would probably have to take it apart for it to fit your giant Space Marine grippers.
It's fine. I still like my Stalker as my sniper rifle.
I mean, you can probably one-hand it, but you do take a -20 penalty for using weapons that are not designed for Space Marines.
Like I said, remember, I can one-hand the Stalker.
Yeah, it's basic. You can also actually one-hand the Ultima, because that's in the errata. They were like, actually, that's a basic weapon. It's a rifle.
About maybe picking up the Ultima, but I wasn't sure. Especially now that I got the Reaper autocannon.
I mean, it would be an upgrade. I think it would be an upgrade in the right context to your Stalker pattern, but I did also design a relic Stalker pattern bolter that would also work for you, and definitely pick the thing about like it Righteous Furies on 9 and 10, and it automatically confirms. So it basically is volatile, I guess. By the way, because that was a thing while you were away. I brought up the fact that volatile auto confirms Righteous Fury, so you didn't have to roll all those confirms with your Rage Fire, and I don't think it does anything else. But like there's stuff going on with like interest. Honestly, you guys haven't been at super risk of corruption, but we'll see.
Or insanity.
Insanity is another tough one. There's some chances for it, and I think it's more about like out there. But that's why I say your barrage is volatile. That is why it is. That's why I joked about the Lament being volatile, because I didn't realize that's exactly what volatile did at the Tim. Because the weapon qualities are slightly different, like every fucking game line. But like I said, there were a couple of mea culpas, and like I wasn't sure which option you would take. I wanted them both to have kind of like fiddly bits, and the sabers were supposed to be part of the fiddly. I was thinking you guys might actually patrol more on the train originally when I wrote it, but also it was getting to that kind of point in the night where it's like, nah, I think they're just gonna drive up. Can you guys hear with your ears? And kind of go. Like maybe starting at like the multi-laser version of the saber, or even like I have to double check. Could it have been like a No, I think it's overheat. It could explode. I don't actually even know if the Space Marine version of volatile can actually explode. Some of the volatile weapons can, but I don't know. That's like I said, where I was discussing in kind of like my need to be maybe a little more nosy about the rules to make sure it is a fair shake to everybody. Because if it was a thing where it might overheat and explode, would be like, we should double check that. We should make sure we're doing all the stuff. Negatives are negatives, positives are positives. But yeah, like, in retrospect, I should have made it like a thing you wreck on. Like I said, start at like multi-lasers or heavy stubbers. This might be a little too weenie. I tagged Aaron with like 2 heavy stubber shots, and he was like basically fine. I breached his armor.
Like I said, yeah, you breached Loth's and Aaron's armor, and Loth he got the sudden chills.
He got a fatigue level. That's worth it. That's kind of like the factor of environmental conditions. I can temporarily debuff you. He'll get over it in the downtime between combats, but it still was a concern for the remainder of that combat. But yeah, like it could have been a thing where maybe there have been upgrades. Maybe I could have let you guys pick. Maybe you could have gone with your own like missile launchers with like way less ammo, but, big more spike damage, you didn't really need it because, like, the rolls everybody was honestly pretty hot on the rolls tonight. When I was actually rolling, I was rolling decent as well. It's just I was not using very serious weapons.
Also, your initiative rolls sucked. All of them.
No, that's true. My initiative was dog-ass.
Some guys didn't even get a chance.
No. But the actual rolls for a few things were pretty decent. I made you guys dodge some shots. The jackals with their sawed-off shotguns was like that I kind of knew was kind of a plum bet. They were mostly designed to like drive up next to you and like smack you with power axes. It's just that it kind of turned into a pseudo drive-by thing because they were breaking, because you guys did take that horde apart pretty good. And scatter in Deathwatch is like very strong on its like bonuses versus its penalties. If it was point blank, they get plus a D10, so like 2d10 plus a little bit of stuff can be spicy, but they were unfortunately a technically long range, I think, because they only have like 10 meters of radius and they did do a drive-by, so it was like that doubles armor. Another thing that, like I said, as FFG got on, I think I said this in the episode, they got a lot better about figuring that out. The shit that fucks with like armor level AP for the other guy is like ludicrously bad once you get to Space Marine level armor, but I don't think they figured that out until Deathwatch came out. So like I have to just like make shit up and not give enemies primitive weapons if I want them to hurt you, because fucking doubling your base AP before your unnatural toughness is like, oh, that's never gonna hurt them. You guys are never gonna get hurt by peasants with sharpened sticks, which is like fair to Space Marines, but like I don't even think you can like cold shot to like get through armor. Like you can't even aim for the weak points.
God, what was that movie that John Travolta was in? Where it was
Battlefield Earth?
Yes.
Classically awful movie.
It is classically awful, but I love it at the same time.
Yeah. Oh no, it's like that's another movie. That is a movie that I think is so bad it's good. Like if you go in knowing that you're gonna laugh at this movie you're not supposed to be laughing at, it can be amusing. But it's so fucking goofy. But yeah, those are like literal human cavemen who get trained on flight simulators, but also like attack aliens with spears and shit and rocks. Like I think that it's decent that a Space Marine cannot be damaged by a peasant with a rock or a caveman with a club, but the way that I think both Black Crusade and definitely only War do primitive is instead they cap the damage die, usually like primitive 8, primitive 7 or something like that, so you can't ever roll max damage, which probably takes damaging most Space Marines out of the equation. Like if you roll higher than a 7, a primitive 7 weapon becomes 7. But like if a horde had a thing where they like did bonus damage because there were so many of them, you could just like like they can get enough hits in that they would actually either find a weak point or stun you or whatever. But anyway, we're discussing game design stuff we don't need to. So like I said that like I felt like the session was pretty overall, but I kind of figured like what would have been bothering Aaron when the session was over, and he said he had kind of mixed feelings. I'm like, I think I know where I goofed up, and I'm like, I can spot the spot where I did tank it a little. And I think that we're always learning and changing, so we will do stuff different next time. But also, you guys will have different fights next time. Like you said, you guys will be able to work in town a little to set up and contribute to some stuff, and then you got to pick an objective first. They're in completely asset in different areas to go to, so you got to pick where you're going to go first.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get guys or do you get goodies?
Actually, Meg, I just want to ask ahead of time. Is this going to be one of those things that wherever we go first, we get reduced rewards on the second?
No.
Okay.
No, it's just an aspect of picking.
Okay.
Like I've telegraphed this pretty well. There's history and relics to examine at the Basilica. So like if you do that first, you will have those for the rest of the mission. But if you go to the Alpine Warfare School, you are, hopefully going to be able to find and preserve the life of dudes, of a commissar and of, stormtrooper cadets, and their vehicles as well. They've got some Tauroxes, some light all-terrain vehicles. I'm sure one of the boys will post an image. So like that'll give you additional. I almost said assets, but like that can have a capital letter in this game. It will give you additional resources that you can move around and do what you will with. And of course, we'll have different encounter redos. But no, I never wrote it to be like a time crunch pick thing. It's more of like where do you focus first? Because you gotta I did want it to be kind of like you definitely have to pick one. I don't want to like have you guys consider, not that I think you would for sure, but it's like, I don't want you guys to think about splitting the party, but also it's a thing where it's not like you send the NPCs to go take care of it. It is like, which one of these do you want to look at first?
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get into that on Sunday. Anything else about Deathwatch?
No, I think that pretty much covers it. Like I said, we're having fun with it. Like I said, I am starting to feel the need for rain again. So I'm like, how many missions did you say you have to play in total?
8. We're over
8, and we're on mission, what, 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely think by the time we're done with 8, I'll be like, yep, no, it's rain time again. Which I think is the point. I think we've taken a fairly good break, so I think we wrap up this, put ourselves in a good spot, and we go back to politicking and warmongering. Not really warmongering, but
well, I don't know if maybe not mongering a war, but you're definitely going to prosecute a war in your not too distant future.
Dwagons. I must seduce the dwagon.
There will be Dungeons and Dragons, but there will not be Dungeons and Dragons, if you know what I mean. But yeah, we're still having fun with Deathwatch. There are some bumps to get out, and again, a decent number of it is just like, I don't want to phrase it as like us versus the system, but it is kind of like us versus the rules, where it's just like, what the fuck are we doing? How do we do this? What's going on? And sometimes it's super permissive, and sometimes it's not, and sometimes it's funny.
Yeah,
me just checking vehicle crits and being like, the driver's stunned. And then Dallas goes, well, he's getting shot again anyway. And it's like, okay, he explodes.
I know it's me tooting my horn, but I'm forever going to laugh about the truck full of orcs that I shot, crashed, it flipped over, and then exploded a second later.
No, that one was very funny with the way the crit chart worked, because it was like, because I looked at the rules about crashing, so it's like, that was specifically, you sniped the driver, so like it goes out of control. So I'm like, this happens and this happens, then okay. So then it crashed, that generates this amount of damage, and that generates this amount of critical damage. Also, the game specifically has like rules for like scatter and stuff, for being like, if it does blah blah blah, it flips over, so the crew can't jump out. So I'm just like, I'm checking the chart. Yes, it flips over, and then it explodes. And you were just like, everybody was just like, oh, okay. And I'm like, no, correct. It is a comedy of errors.
No, but Deathwatch, like I said, I think we have, like, the thing about, like, Deathwatch being so combat heavy, I think it makes us go, oh, or what? In those kind of moments, like, a lot more than in Rain, where we have a lot of focus on, like, social and role-playing and whatnot.
Yeah, Rain feels less like there have been a couple of, like, O's, mostly about, people taking horrendously bad damage, but, like, usually your moments feel more like, slow build-up reveals of just being like, yes.
I still remember the time when, I don't remember what hit Aaron, but something hit Conrad, and I was laying down in bed, and I heard that I had to get up and be like, what just happened?
Did he get stabbed or shot? I think he got stabbed in the shoulder?
The Cyclops, yes.
No, the Cyclops, I think Lucky was sitting up. I think this was at the pub. The Cyclops was another moment where everybody, I think, like, we were at a virtual tabletop, but I feel like everybody just looked at each other like, uh-oh. Luckily,
also, what I'm learning is Aaron gets hit, like, almost dies a lot.
Aaron has built a couple of high damage characters, but unfortunately, there are limits to tankiness.
I think this is usually followed by Dallas, who gets hit a lot.
Dallas gets hits a lot because he is definitely the number one person to charge into danger without any, like, as a player, Dallas has no fear for the lives of his characters. He is absolutely the kind of player who's like, if he dies, he dies. Nicola, like, plays that up because Nicola has a terrible, dog shit self-worth and a terrible martyrdom complex that the gang has only been calling him out on for, like, 30 sessions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Aaron's saying,
Dallas sometimes, yes.
No, like, he absolutely is a charge into danger kind of guy. Like, I think that's part of the reason why his assault character, like, flows so much better for him, because, like, with the jump pack and all this melee shit, it just incentives him to just fucking dive ball, fucking super monkey ball into the enemy hordes,
Yeah.
And, like, it fits him a lot better. I don't know about Fragile Pride. I think you're just too anxious of a player to like, really go whole hog on being a martyr. Like, you would be too concerned that your noble self-sacrifice wouldn't actually be doing enough for the team to noble self-sacrifice. You would be like, but I'd be much more helpful to the group if I was alive. Like, that is, it is kind of like, I think, talking about like Deathwatch and its combat focus, that is kind of like the weird paradox of like, we've talked about where like Axe likes to be effective as a character, so he's picked some very optimal options to like do some stuff. And like, I definitely think it's very funny, you know, talking about it. Like he brought this up that like he didn't intend it to be that way, but he read the description of the barrage plasma rifle and being like, oh, this is in demand by tech marines. And it's like, yeah, no, it's a wacky, wild, high-tech gun. That kind of tracks. You know, but he was thinking about it for the extra stats because the round tier went up. And it was fun. A lot of plasma going around, honestly. Dallas has plasma grenades. Aaron brought the plasma cannon.
Like I said, we're getting to big stuff. I think I'm going to stick strictly to bolter and solid projectile. Although I was looking at getting some blind grenades, which are just smoke grenades, but better.
Yeah, it's 40k, so all the names are weird. Blind grenades or smoke grenades. If you want flash grenades, those are photon flash grenades.
Yeah, because apparently you take a smoke counts as cover, but it's not like a thing. It just gives everyone a -20 when you shoot into it. It's like, that sounds great.
That'd be good.
But yeah, no, like I thought, like, especially with me playing KCD, I'm definitely ready to get back into Rain. It has, like, honestly, like, looking at the architecture and the people and stuff have given me a lot of thoughts about things and whatnot. Like, I'm probably gonna retweak the House of Passion to be more probably in line with what is a traditional bathhouse, which is probably a little bit of, you know, aristocratic flair and whatnot, which would probably make more sense, especially since the Madame is...
Unos has to get some flair.
Yeah.
Well,
like
you
said,
do get some more advanced composition. Talking about, like, the time gap. But, you know,
true.
The vibes are a pastiche. And
Yeah,
certainly, like, some of the things are, like, talking about, like, you've done a lot of conversations in the site about, like, the armor layering and the armor options. The armor technology hasn't advanced that much. Like, there's not that much you can do to a plate of steel to improve it. It's mostly about, like, construction and shaping. But, you know, a plate of steel is a plate of steel. Also wrong.
And it is like a 400 years of difference, but I'm gonna be real until we basically hit like, I want to say, like, late 1700s. A lot of shit really didn't change. It really didn't. It's like some borders change and some ethnicities change, but a lot of the technology and mindset, strange. You can thank the church for that, by the way.
Yeah, there was some status quo enforcement going on there. I mean, like, military tactics did evolve over time. Like, I'm pretty sure that, you know, where you're at, your pre pike and shot, that was the 1500s. I want to say, I think it was 15 or 16.
Oh, by the way, I learned that sorry, go. I learned that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 actually has handguns and crossbows, and I was like, rad!
Yeah, nice. We've described the setting as, like, verging on La Belle Epoque. It's like, it's supposed to be like 1700. It's still pre-industrial, not pre-gunpowder, that's super early. But, you know, we're repeating rifles, you know, a little bit of the Napoleonic vibes, like, not quite to a Wild West, but, you know, it is a pastiche, so it's like asking a clean question of, like, you know, oh, are we like the late 1600s? It's like, well, yes and no. Because, like, that's actually a plot point that we've made discussing about some technology. Like, there's some stuff that you guys are missing from some ideas because you haven't had to run them. And some other stuff you're going to be more advanced on. But, like I said, the idea of pike and shot did change warfare, but it basically just added a new way to do the system that was kind of already done, which is, like, you know, like, for instance, Roman legions, right? They walk in a shield wall, they throw javelins, they get close, they stab. I understand. You know, you evolve that to more armored knights, knights. You invent the stirrup so that a horse can support a fully armored man. That's actually something the Romans didn't have, was the modern stirrup.
Yeah, no, actually, the stirrup, like, really changed the force of, like, really what made cavalry come into being.
Yeah, because, like, you did have cavalry charges in the Roman and pre-Roman era, and they were pretty important, but by necessity, they usually had to be pretty lightly armored. You had to save heavy cav for, like, chariots or, like, elephants, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't support a fully knighted boy. They can't, you know, exercise proper leverage without the stirrup to hoof their weight upon. But when you get the stirrup, that's when you can get proper, like, heavy cavalry with, like, the ability to, like, you know, adjust your leverage and positioning, and then you get big boy knight charges. And honestly, the secret of warfare is just like talking about the secret of power is just boiling water, right? The secret of warfare is just finding new and inventive ways to take mass and move it very fast and smack it into the other guy.
No, it's absolutely true.
Like cavalry
All
charge,
of warfare
well, that generates a shitload of force. You know what also generates a shitload of force? Black powder, lead ball.
And then at that point, history just became, how can we make bigger and better guns?
And, like, obviously, you know, we didn't switch to all-range combat overnight because the original iteration of, you know, the handgun and even the arquebus and even further down, it's like, well, there's a built-in reload time, you know, for, like, massed shooting, line fire, and that kind of stuff. So, you know, maybe you can sneak in a cavalry charge, you know, in a gap between shooting. And obviously, you know, a man can't, you know, shoulder a cannon, but you can pull cannons, and they can shoot big mass, big blow up, go boom, very far away. Napoleon loved artillery, but yes, like that's the funny joke about like about, you know, all power generation is just boiling water, always has been. Like, no, warfare truly is just trying to figure out how you can effectively generate the most force by, you know, the various combination of mass and speed and hit another guy. Whether that's, you know, you're hitting another guy because you're executing a cavalry charge, or you're hitting another guy because, you know, you've got a 25 millimeter shell you're slinging across the map, or, you know, you get into advanced ballistics and rocketry and shit. It's all you know, force, baby. Even in space, it's force. Space rocks.
So that's what I'm saying. Is like, yeah, there might be like 400 years of difference, but it's like still very good to take into account for like social classes, society, how, you know, buildings may look and whatnot. Like a lot of vibes. So no,
have some buildings that are, you've got some buildings that are 400 years old or older.
So it's like, yes, no, I'm not saying, you know, us being in, you know, a pre-Bella epoch is, you know, freaking 1300s Europe, but there's still a lot of similar vibes and whatnot.
It makes you think things because, like, the backstory of the setting of Troy Corone would have been similar to the realistic setting of Bohemia at some points. Like, there would have been these societal evolutions you would have gone on through that would have been not exactly the same, but, you know, these are things to think about, and you may have these various, you know, events that set up these things. Like, you have backstory and stuff to fill in.
You know, like the whole Pope schism. You know, we might be able to like refer that to the I can't remember when the church reformed. It was
the Great Reformation. I think it was.
Yeah, the
I
Great
kept
Reformation.
A lot of my announced symbol. Yeah, that was actually, there was kind of like a Pope anti-Pope thing.
So
there was you know, like possible split between church and state that had to get resolved.
No, so like I said, like KCD has been very good for like my brain. That's like, again, it's like really made me thought about, you know, Enos' fit, you know, his relationship with others, you know, like maybe considering like how some things are in the road. Because like that was the thing I thought about, was like we were like doing this whole major road project, and I was like, it's like, what were the roads like that? Were they just like, you know, like little dirt trails with maybe some wheel cart roads in them before we started doing stuff? It's like, how crazy are we actually doing with like making proper roads? Because like,
I think at some point we discussed the technology of it, but I know we didn't do whatchamacallit, like crazy deep dive, because I did actually like look up like what the materials were, you know, when asphalt came in, etc.
Yeah.
Like, is it? Well, you wouldn't cobble all the way through. Also, actually, that's
no. We're not like cobbling the entire road. But I think we said we're doing like gravel. We're widening the roads and putting gravel down or something.
Yeah, something with
remember.
Drainage so they can't bog down, but not like super hard pack.
No, and we're doing like little ends and way stations and stuff. But I was like thinking about it. It's like, do we have cobblestones in Starhearth? It's like probably on like the main roads, but it wouldn't be like throughout the entire city. That'd be a pain.
Yeah, I think I described that Stonehearth is a city that has cobbled streets, but not. You are correct. It is probably not literally every road is cobbled. You know, you will have packed earth trails and stuff. Honestly, depending on your thoroughfare, you may have roadways that are you know, completely stone slab, like stone brick roads in some areas.
Yeah,
because Stonehearth is very old and very fortified.
No,
there will be places
like,
when you guys actually travel down south where those guys are going to have ye old school, you know, cement roads because of the Imperial occupation.
Yeah,
because those fuckers loved logistics.
No, but then I was like looking at other things. Is like I was thinking about like we probably like do we have like water carriers who just, you know, people who just walk down to the river, grab a bucket, and walk it back? Like people who just shovel out latrines? Like I don't remember what like our state of like plumbing is in, you know, our time right now. It's all like with horses, you know, horses just shit on the road. They don't fucking care. And who knows? Are people still using chamber pots? Like a whole level like idea of like wondering about like, you know, our whole infrastructure.
Thinking about your embodiment. Yeah. No, I definitely think you have street sweep. I mean, you have street sweepers anyway because that's clean streets is important for general health. And like if you didn't have a robust Street Sweepers gang before, it was like a whole thing that Nicola was working on for months about like thinking about like how he would improve the general populace's health, and it would absolutely be like, well, if there's any like offal in the streets, that's not good for you. That makes you sick. We need to clean those streets better. Stonehearth has like cisterns and underground waterways, so you probably have some wells to pump, but definitely I think you do, like, thinking about it, right, like water carrying is pretty normal because you don't have like advanced drilling for deep water wells.
Yeah. I know, it's like little like pocket lit kind of stuff. Like I don't think it's anything that really like is really consequential to, our schemes and plans. Well, I mean it could be. Who knows? I might, do something. I still remember my plan to false flag Stonehearth that got stolen by Omega. I say stolen, but he just pulled it off before I could.
Yeah, that was big through that shit before I walked in the room energy.
Yeah.
Because I really had called my shot literally months before. Without like any collusion on our part. You hadn't even given a hint of this to me. It just so happens that like, working in circles. But yeah, no, like I totally understand. And I've talked about this before. Like when I actually get to, because unfortunately my brain has been boiling. Oh, actually, I was going to mention this also with Ghost in the Shell. Ghost in the Shell has been having me think cyberpunk thoughts. So I finished a section, a story beat of Jack of All Trades and started plotting another in my brain.
Cool.
That'll probably keep going back and forth when I feel about writing. But like when I want to switch to Rain Brain, like I think I have KCD installed. We'll be playing Kingdom Come Deliverance, and maybe I'll slap back in Final Fantasy Tactics. That's another one that's like that's obviously is more fantastical, but like thematically the plot of that is very on the point. Even the side quests, actually, I know for a fact because it would be incredibly valuable. But if you guys went to a mine full of bandits and found a guy, whatchamacallit, with like a dragon best friend. It's late. Also, if they were a breast friend. But if you found it, like, he had like a dragon buddy with him who was like cursed, you guys would absolutely be like, "Yea, we shall defend him from the brigands because dragons are cool."
Dragons are cool.
I know for sure that if you guys found an ancient robot, Nicola would be like, "We got to recruit this guy. This guy needs an office. This guy needs a corner office." Like, so, like, I think FFT is another good pick, and I've been thinking about getting back into that one as well. But yeah, no, like I said, like it's funny sometimes, but like I do really work with like when I'm getting my brain in my brain space and vibing, and like I get inspired by other stuff, like I'm not necessarily itching to run Singularity War right now, but like we've been doing a lot of cyberpunk stuff, so I'm like, oh yeah, I have I've unresolved writing threads I can work on. But like that means it's also I have to be ready to like deliberately shift my own vibs. Like, I've been keeping myself in the Deathwatch vibs, because like I said, I still have to wrap up number 8. But I've been keeping myself in the vibs by still occasionally playing Space Marine 2 to keep farming fucking levels. But also I did mention, I did get the Skitari DLC, which is pretty fun. I mentioned this I think on the last one, that there's many fun war crime guns. I unlocked the Phosphor pistol, the gun that shoots the revolver that shoots white phosphorus. Literally, when you shoot people, it explodes in white flame. Still need to keep leveling Skitari to get like the transonic blades and other funny things. Yeah, let's see if we can schedule some Dark Tide. Ugh. I played a little bit, but yeah, like it's good for the mood, and setting the 40k mood is like real easy. Even down to like that's how we fucking got here, right? Was like we were taught, like, I think you were reading some books and some stuff, and then Space Marine 2 like popped up like on PS Plus, and I was just like, oh yeah, we can play that co-op, and then now we're here. Because I said to the gang, I was like, by the way, I can just run this. There's an RPG for this. But okay, all right. Yeah, that's our RPG talk. We're over 4 hours. I think I already asked Lucky if there was anything else to mention.
Not for me.
So I think that's a good time to wind it in, pack it up, head on home. Gotta log into FGO and then work on the next story chapter.
Yeah.
So's, hey, if you've been watching this episode of Let's Talk FGO, we do this every week. Be sure to consider giving us a lick like. You can also consider firing off your comments as well. Like, get in the comments, as they say. You can also join our Discord. If you're new here, please consider subscribing to get more, and you can ring the bell for notifications, as they say. Some people do still say. You can also join our channel memberships, and you can support us on Patreon to get access to episodes early and in audio format, get access to wanted videos early, and other funny haha things like Rain Fiction. And actually the audio of the APs as well goes up on Patreon if you want to get it download and listen. So, at our higher levels, you can listen to us record Less Like FGO live and get a shout-out like added to Heartplex.g, Call Me Zed, Carlos, Dragon, JDV9000, Rise of Kenji, Rogue Ramen, and Charvor. Thank you so much, patrons, for patroning. Thank you, listeners, for listening. And this has been our episode. We will see you guys next week for more. Bye-bye now.
Goodbye.